robbery. Hands in the sky if you got a dream. Learn nothing was blocking me. I was the problem, the only one stopping me. I didn't like it, I had to refocus. Now I'm devoted, I know where I'm going. Controlling emotions, I'm owning the moment. In order to get it, see, you gotta want it. Don't make a living break. Confessions over these 808s. Don't sleep on the key, better stay away. I mean, for heaven's sake, I'ma be the best. Came from the endless lane walk games, bitch with the chest. Beating on my chest, trying to get my rest. Watch me while I flex. Every win is a blessing, and every L is a lesson. So when I run into rejection, I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Quitting was never an option.
Homestead-Miami Speedway. This hallowed ground, buried deep in South Florida, has hosted many a championship deciding race, and tonight OSRL adds another notch to this famed mile-and-a-half belt. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Split Second Broadcasting's coverage of the OSRL Thanks Jonathan Oates 200, presented by Find Love or Die Trying. I'm Hunter Brittle, alongside my good friend Elliot Henderson, ready to call all the action of the final race of the Online Speedway Racing League Premier Series season. The championship picture as they come in tonight: last season's champion Cole Freilich holds an 11-point advantage over longtime rival William Schmidt. Nothing's off the table, Elliot, but Freilich's got to feel good having that lead heading into the last race.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the last track he won at was Darlington, which is a big tire wear track, and I think you're going to see a lot of fall off here tonight at Homestead as well, mainly with the rear tires, similar to Darlington. So you got to figure that maybe it's in Freilich's wheelhouse here, and that Schmidt's kind of playing catch up, especially with the deficit and the lack of consistency on his end to put himself in this position. But Schmidt is no slouch himself. Won at Las Vegas earlier this season, so both of these guys with one win to boot, nowhere near the 5 wins that Joe Armstrong comes in with. But both of these guys consistent enough to get themselves to this point. And now Schmidt's got to make up 11 points and try to figure it out tonight.
Consistency has been the name of the game with these two guys, both of them the only drivers in the field with double-digit top 10s throughout the entire season. And let's go ahead and bring in Cole Freilich, our championship leader heading into tonight. Freilich, what's the game plan for tonight, as it looks like you've got a pretty good starting spot up there?
Survive. I mean, I feel really good going into this. I was a little nervous before qualifying, but now that we're P4, I think we can really manage off of that. And yeah, I mean, I feel really good going into this. I've been here before. I've been here with the same guy before. I know what to do going in. I just got to hope the cards play right for him. That allow me to just kind of have an easy night. But with Schmitty, nothing's ever easy. So it's gonna be a good fight.
Boy, couldn't have said it better myself. You two guys are really the class of the field in this league, and it's great to see you guys bringing it down to the wire with another close one here that we get to watch tonight. Are you going to be, throughout this race, are you going to be thinking about the point scenario? Do you have a way to keep track of that in your head, or is it just going to be keep the eyes out in front of the windshield?
I'm just going to make sure I see a purple and white 79 car near me at all times.
I like that. Well, good luck, Cole. Thanks for talking to us, and we hope to see you after the race.
Appreciate it, boys. Enjoy the show.
And we'll go ahead and bring William Schmidt up into the booth. Obviously coming in here an 11-point deficit, but he's on the pole. William, what are we thinking tonight as far as tires and what the strategy is to try to keep Freilich behind you and try to cut this 11-point deficit down?
Yeah, going into this, the one thing that I'm definitely wary of regarding tires is the long run. I'm very confident on the short run, but on the long run, not really so. I did some moon cars practice, and I ended up falling off pretty hard after the long run. So, I'll see what I can do. I've made a couple little changes since then to tweak it, and I feel like I've, done a little bit better in terms of managing the tires. So hopefully we can keep up with him on the long run. I was talking with him earlier in the waiting room, and he said that, he feels really good on the long run while I feel really good on the short run. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic, but I mean, I'm not going to be confident if I don't win, because I mean, if I win, that immediately cuts down half of the gap because that's about 6 extra points than second, and I think he has to get fourth from there. So, it's going to be a fun race. I'm going to do what I can to win, obviously, but it's a stacked field, so it's going to be tough.
I was going to say, with the lack of kind of trying to get this in quick because I know you guys got a grid, but with the lack of bonus points and everything, that pole means a whole lot. Is your goal to just kind of sit out front and lead the whole thing, or are you going to try to strategize and save tire and do a little bit here without giving too much of your strategy up?
Honestly, I don't know. We'll see. But I hope to maybe get the most lap slid bonus point, but I don't think that would do much in terms of closing in the gap, because even though that would close in an extra point, I feel like he would have the tiebreaker over me because I think he has one more top 10. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really close if I end up remaining up front and Cole stays where he is. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll see. It's going to be an entertaining race.
Well, we look forward to seeing how it all shakes out. Good luck tonight, William.
Yep, thank you.
And that is your top two going for the championship tonight. Schmidt comes in 11 points down to Freilich. He said it. If he wins, Freilich needs to finish fourth. He comes in starting on pole. Freilich will leave pit road from the fourth position. If it ended just like this, I believe that will put Schmidt ahead. We can obviously double check the live points, and we'll just have to watch that good battle all night tonight. But William Schmidt, Joshua Chin starting on the front row here, going into Homestead.
I like Schmidt's attitude there. He knows exactly what he needs to do, exactly what Freilich has to do in order for either of them to clinch this championship. That's a great head on his shoulders going into this. He's definitely got the goals oriented, and it's definitely helping that he's got that car on pole when they roll off the grid here. Elliot, we've got this new Gen 4 car here tonight at Homestead. Haven't seen a whole lot of action out of it just yet. What are we expecting in terms of a race tonight with this? There's many grooves to this racetrack. Will we see guys up ripping the fence like we do in real life?
Well, it's funny. Really quick, I just want to go back. We showed the points as they run, and that's actually news to us. So Freilich right there would have to actually finish sixth with Schmidt winning. Schmidt may get bonus points for leading the most laps. That's going to be something that we need to watch. But it looks like if no one gets bonus points, Schmidt would win. Freilich would need to finish sixth. That's how it would need to happen. But going forward, yeah, I'm not sure what to expect. And it's funny because we talked about this with Talladega because this car is so new. We were told from other drivers kind of what to expect from Talladega, and what we expected is not what we got. There were a lot of big runs, a lot of side drafting, a lot of outside line working, and then inside line kind of making hay and everything. So I don't know. Homestead is definitely one of those tracks that hasn't really changed overall. It seems like at the beginning of the run, you definitely want to run the bottom, save a little bit of tire. And as the run progresses, you're going to start to go to the top because it's just too loose and you can't put power down on corner exit here, at least on the bottom of the track. So we'll have to see if that's the case tonight. I assume that's just how it's going to go, but I'm sure you'll definitely see guys already work their way up to the wall a couple laps in because there is ground to be made up there. It's just going to kill your rear tires a lot quicker. But, Homestead gives a lot of options for that. At the beginning of the run, you can go up to the wall and make up time on those guys that don't want to do that, but you're obviously going to run into the issue where halfway through the run, you're not going to have the tires that they have. But the idea of that is you go up to the wall, you try to gain a bunch of track position, hope for an early yellow, and then, you've gained 5, 6, 7 spots, and then you can reset with everyone else with some tires and everything if the yellow comes out at the right time. But it'll be interesting. We've got a lot of new faces in here tonight and a lot of guys that I think can contend for this win that aren't William Schmidt and aren't Cole Freilich. And then you've got contenders way back deep in the field like Kendall Carpenter starting back in 14th. I'd say that's deep in the field, but it's just a lot of positions compared to where he normally starts up inside the top 5. And we'll have to see if they do immediately go up to the wall and start utilizing different lanes. But I think to start this one out, I think you're going to see a lot of bottom feeding for at least the first 5 or 6 laps here.
I think you're exactly right, Elliot. And speaking of guys who maybe new faces to the racing surface, but certainly not one that's new to this league, league owner Jonathan Oates will be stepping aside after the end of this race this season to pursue other other ventures in his real life. So he has elected to participate in tonight's event. He is starting in the 5th place spot there in the number 73 car. And so we just want to extend a thank you and a congratulations to Oates for running a great league. To have a field of 44 cars at this, or well, a qualifying field of 44 cars. They narrowed it down to 43 to make the grid at the season finale after a really long season is no easy feat. So good promoting and great league adminning on his part, and we wish him luck in his ventures going forward.
Not to overcorrect you, but I believe they condensed it down to 36 for tonight. So we'll hopefully get that line up here shortly. I'm not sure if we can get those final starters, but we'll at least go through the beginning portion really quick before we get off the Oates train. He did run 2 races this season. Both finished up in the top 5, started 2nd and finished 3rd at Kern, and started up inside the top 10 and finished 5th at Milwaukee. So no slouch. Looking forward to seeing what he can do tonight here at Homestead. I believe this is one of his favorite tracks. But William Schmidt will start from the pole with Joshua Chin to his outside to get the finale started tonight.
Thomas Lewandowski making another return to OSRL competition. He will roll off from the 3rd spot. That's a name that a lot of iRacers are familiar with. Really frequents the official lobbies. Look for Lewandowski to be a force to be reckoned with here tonight. And he will have Cole Freilich to his outside starting in 4th.
And there is that number 73, Jonathan Oates machine starting 5th. And if you want a dark horse pick, the guy right there pushing him, the 42 of Braden Movick starts 6th tonight. Watch for him all night long.
David T. Cabrera made a whole lot of noise at Talladega. He rolls off from the 7th spot. And Harry Grindell back to OSRL competition. He rolls off from the 8th spot.
Mo Perry, maybe one of the most badass designs out here. The number 41 Coors Light car rolls off 9th. Isaac Johnson with a really good starting spot tonight. He starts 10th.
AJ Green rolls off from the 11th place spot, and Philip Kraus, another one who was making a lot of noise at the Super Speedway last week. Philip Kraus rolls off from the 12th spot.
Griffin Jones will start from 13th with Kendall Carpenter to his outside in 14th.
Jay Ramiah Brooks rolls off from the 15th spot with Jack Painter to his outside. Look for that 97 car to go forward early on in this event.
Nicholas Bedimlik will start 17th with Tristan Baker in 18th.
Brandon Sampson rolls off from the 19th spot with Nathan Kiani to his outside in 20th.
Aston Rice will roll off 21st with Chris Lilly back in 22nd.
Caden Reif starts in the 23rd spot with Ryan Pandesio to his outside in 24th.
And Levi Wolf will roll off 25th with Nolan Sanford back there in 26th.
Just to round out your top 30 here, Jackson Sims starts 27th, Noah Carmichael 28th, Ethan Corder rolls off from the 29th spot, and Steven Gibson, big name in the OSRL racing community, rolls off from the 30th spot. He's another one who I'm looking to see go forward early on in this event. Pace cars got the field double file coming down to the front straightaway, dives onto pit road. William Schmidt has the field in his control for the final race of the OSRL Premier Series Season 9. We are green in Homestead.
And you can see Oates actually cut the lane off there, got right to the bottom. You can already see the bottom feeding starting. Joshua Chin runs really high in the middle of 1 and 2. Maybe might get a run off the corner. Doesn't get much. Freilich a little bit loose. Or, I'm sorry, that was Freilich that jumped down in that lane. He gets a little bit loose on corner exit. He's going to be side by side with Movick. Chin trying to work the outside as Schmidt works him through 3 and 4.
Movick pinching down on Freilich, not trying to give him an inch here as they'll rumble off of turn number 4 to complete the first lap. Give it to William Schmidt, doing exactly what he needs to do and go get that championship here tonight. He will lead them as they go off into turn number 1.
Yeah, remember that bonus point for most laps led matters. It's the only thing available tonight. No pole bonus point, no single lap led. So if Schmidt can get that and Freilich finishes in 5th, I believe by our standard that William Schmidt would be awarded a championship. We'll have to see how it all sorts out. But right now, that's all Schmidt can do is just run up front, as Cole Freilich is in a mess back here with the 45, the 70, and the 73, all about 3 wide for about that 5th, 6th place.
Absolute mad scramble there for that 5th and 6th spot with Cole Freilich right in the middle of it. right up in front of them. We talked about it, Elliot, running this high side or the low side. The 73 car of Jonathan Oates already up there on the top side. Josh Chin as well was up there, but Oates capitalized on him taking the middle lane. Oates is moving forward there on that top side.
Yeah, it looks like if you guys are comfortable just bottom feeding right now, but I believe that's a 19 of Philip Kraus already up by the wall. You've got Oates up by the wall. There's a few guys that started a little bit further back than where they're used to, and they're trying to make that outside work. Kraus started 12th. He's already up battling for the top 10 as they're 3 wide back there for about 9th.
That's the 45 of David T. Cabrera. Kendall Carpenter drew his outside. Philip Kraus, you mentioned him ripping that outside line. Not going to make it work this time, as now the 45 and the 20 are 2 by 2, or rather side by side as they go off in the corner. But now here comes Kendall diving it into turn number 3, and he will be up alongside, I believe that's the 33 of Isaac Johnson. So Kendall Carpenter making moves on the top side early on.
Yeah, we don't talk about Isaac a whole lot. He seems to get involved in a lot of trouble, a lot of issues. As Freilich is blinking out, that's scary for him. A bit of internet connectivity, but he comes back. He's fine. But good to see Isaac Johnson running up here inside the top 10, top 15 after some of the issues he's had this season. Kraus now looking to the outside, but you can see the stack up on the bottom really helps build that outside lane. I don't know if the outside has pace right now, but it's because of the stack up that Kraus can sit here and drive around a few people and get the run down the straightaway to make some passes. But you can see Carpenter already from 14th to the top 10, Kraus from 12th to the top 10. That outside lane is making some gains right now.
Well, the racing in the middle part of the field has been fantastic. We've got to fight for the lead, and it looks like Thomas Lewandowski is making his presence known. He will have sole control of this lead, and he will bring Oates through there with him.
And it looks like that bottom lane is just not working right now. The top lane is the favored line as far as making up ground, but you got to wonder what that does to the tires later on, and I think that's why Schmidt's comfortable to just run the bottom. Remember, he said he ran another league, the Moon Car Series, here, and was able to figure out what he was doing right and wrong and ask other guys, hey, how do you save tire here? So I think he's learned that the bottom line is where he needs to be. That's what he's doing right now, following pretty comfortably in third.
Boy, a little bit of a hiccup there for Harry Grindell. Checks up that outside lane. AJ Green was behind him. And then I believe that's the 97 of Jack Painter as well. Got a little bit of a bottleneck going down the back straightaway. But they all get it sorted out. Now they'll single file out and then double file back to Philip Kraus and AJ Green there. They will go side by side across the line.
I was about to say, yeah, Painter started pretty deep in the field, about 16th. Not what we're used to seeing from him. He's usually starting up inside the top 5. Gets a pretty poor run through the middle of the corner there. But he's up battling for about the top 10 spot. He was 10th last time they came across the line.
Now the entire top 10 has single filed out, save the 10th place car of David T. Cabrera, who's still working over on Jack Painter there on that high side. So, Elliot, looks like everybody's settling in the groove now. What are we looking at in terms of strategy? How many pit stops, what tires, and do you come and get tires every single?
We're going to hope that Brittle can sort his internet connectivity out, but I'm not really positive on the tire sets or the fuel for tonight. We went into this a little bit blind, didn't get all the information necessary. We're going to have to wait and see how this all sorts out. Usually they have 3 or 4 sets of tires for this league, and I believe they're going to be able to run anywhere from about 30 to 40 laps on fuel. We'll just have to see when that first stop happens. But right now, the interesting point is that Freilich is currently outside the top 10, running 12th after starting up inside the top 5. He's just been bottom feeding. We'll have to see if those tires come in a little bit later.
Yeah, Freilich is going backwards, not going in the direction that he needs, but could be saving those tires, like you said, taking care of the equipment. And we look at this Braden Muddick and Ken Carpenter now having a dog fight from 6th spot that's come off of turn number 4. Muddick pinching the 20 car, Carpenter down to eliminate that run. He will now take over 6th position there.
And no change up front. Schmidt's actually gotten back around Oates, who's dropped back to 4th. Lewandowski still kind of holding serve, not driving away, and just kind of sitting right in front as Chin's now starting to work the top. Grindell has moved up around Jonathan Oates, and now it looks like the guys that are bottom feeding are just kind of moving backwards ever so slightly. I'm not sure if that's just by choice and they're saving tire, or if that bottom lane just doesn't have the grip and these guys are using the top to go back around them at the moment.
Single files out all the way back through pretty much the entire field now. Everybody playing nice for the first 12 laps of the event. Now the 10 car that Jeremiah Brooks there working with Isaac Johnson for the 15th spot. Excuse me. As now we see another car drive over the outside lane there. Can't quite see who that is at the current moment, but everybody's settling in. It's a long race, 134 laps around this mile and a half circuit, so plenty of time to go make your moves. As Cole Freilich is well aware, he's got plenty of time now. If he starts to work over, pulls right up to the back of the 96 car of Brandon Tim.
And Lewandowski not really stretching anything out, as now you see Josh Chin looking to the outside of William Schmidt. A few battles going on back towards 5th or 6th spot, but Josh Chin going to make the pass on William Schmidt and start looking towards Lewandowski. Lewandowski now running the top. They're all kind of making different lanes, but Schmidt is committed to that bottom as now Brindle looks to the outside and Schmidt starts to go backwards. Meanwhile, Cole Freilich hasn't really moved at all. He's still sitting about 11th following Cabrera. And he's got Philip Kraus now working to his outside. So these guys all just kind of sitting in line, biding their time, saving some tires. We're going to have to see how this run works itself out.
Philip Kraus still trying to work that outside lane there when he has the opportunity. It seems like he's been the one trying to go up there and make the pass on the top side. And then it's he dives right back to the bottom, saving that tire as much as possible here. And they also go back out, down, back away.
Yeah, it looked like Oates was taking a little bit of a look under Schmidt, didn't do anything with it. Schmidt's starting to kind of look around and use other lanes, but still mostly consistent on that bottom lane. He goes about a lane up here through 1 and 2 and then comes all the way down. As you can see, Josh Chin working the top and kind of, Chin's got a weird little angle here. He runs into the corner high and then arcs on exit. I'm not really sure how that's going to handle his tires later. Lewandowski mainly running up near the wall in 1 and 2 and down on the bottom in 3 and 4 is Chin now working about that 3rd or 4th lane there through 3 and 4. Everyone else basically bottom feeding. Chin's the one kind of searching, potentially trying to make some ground to make a pass on Lewandowski.
Well, that's what we're trying to do, is try and get that big run down these long straightaways that they have here. Homestead-Miami Speedway. That's where most of your passing is going to come from, setting up in these corners and then getting the long run down the front or down the back. So, making it all over the racetrack early on.
We're going to go to crank it up really quick while we try to sort out some technical difficulties here. And we're back here with the OSRL finale here at Homestead. Yellow flags out. So we're going to jump back into the action, get you a replay of what just went on. I believe it was Noah Carmichael is what I'm looking at, but a really nice green flag run of about 20-ish laps to get this one started. And everybody looks like they're going to hit pit road here. But right here on your screen, you can see the 32. That's the O2 of, I believe that's John Daniels, actually. And Carmichael just... wrong place, wrong time, kind of came across the O2's nose, and that was all she wrote. That was John Daniels to the inside and Carmichael to the outside, all battling for about that 30th position back there right towards the end of the field. Fortunately for Carmichael, that may be the end of his day. If not, definitely no chance at a win with how much damage he accumulated there. John Daniels didn't look like he hit anything, just kind of looped it around to avoid that inside wall, and he will continue to fight through the rest of this evening. Lewandowski will lead him off pit road, but Harry Grindell comes off second. We're going to get a bit of a mix-up up front.
Grindell's been a solid addition to this top five. He's been around there all night long. Josh Chin slipped back on that last pit stop, so let's see what the 70 car has when we get going back green. I'm interested to see how he can contend with the pace of Lewandowski, who's been leading pretty much from the drop.
And Lewandowski's actually reporting damage, and I'm not really sure where he would have gotten that from. He said he had 12 seconds worth. Maybe went up and scrubbed the wall, but these cars are pretty resilient. 12 seconds won't really bother him. But yeah, to your point, Hunter, I think Harry Grindell might genuinely have something here, and it's not someone we talk about very often of just sitting here running top five, but this track, this car sometimes produces guys that they just figure it out, man, and Grindell looks like he's got something figured out tonight. Obviously started back in 8th and has just kind of hung up here, worked the outside lane, made the right moves, and he was 3rd, 4th, 5th fastest on speed, and now with a little bit of track position gets a start on this front row, and we'll see what he's got for Lewandowski and Chin up here.
Well, Grindell throughout the season has been a driver just sneak into that top 10, top 8 finishing position. Definitely a name that's well known in the OSRL community, but to see him up here contending for this lead this early on, certainly not something that I, with respect, can say that I expected out of the 70 car, but it's a welcome surprise for sure. Great to see another face mixing it up here up at the front. So let's see what the 70 cars got when they go green here next time by.
And yeah, quick apologies to everyone. We're just sorting out Brittle's connectivity issues, but welcome back, Hunter. And we're going to have the pace car pull off here. And we're going to get going right here. We're going to see what Grindell has for Lewandowski as pace car's off.
Pace car dives on the pit road, feels in the hands of Lewandowski, who is out of the grid like a bullet. Look at that man go already. A 3-car length advantage off into turn number 1. He's going to be leaving Grindell and Chin fighting for scraps in that second spot.
Yeah, I believe in the business they call that shot out of a cannon, and he's got about 3, 4, 5, 6 car lengths as they exit turn 2. Grindell's going to clear Chin for second, and the battle's going to be back for third. Fralick to the inside, 3 wide under Carpenter and AJ Green. Following Mubbock through, he catches the apron. That's going to hurt his corner speed, but he's still fighting. Knows he needs to gain a couple spots back as he's loose off 4 with Carpenter who's outside.
Fralick knows that this is the best opportunity to get those spots back that he lost when everybody's grouped up together. As caution's out once again on the Speedway, and it appears that it's the 100 car of Jeremiah Brooks is stopped in turn number 1.
I saw a little bit of hustling back there going on between a few guys. I think it was the 88 as well, or maybe the 818 of Ethan Quarter. Yeah, Quarter has, well, his hood just popped up. He's in a bit of trouble, and we'll go back and get this looked at here.
What's that famous saying that Larry Mack has? Cautions breed cautions, and that's proving to be the case here early on at Homestead. Lap number 27, and your second caution flag has flown for what appears to be contact between Ethan Quarter and Jeremiah Brooks.
It's looking like potentially an issue between Aston Rice, Ethan Quarter, and others. We'll see it right here. Oh, no, I believe, yeah. Would have called it right with the 100, and the 47 ran him over, and the 88, 818, sorry. Nowhere really to go, but it looks like out of all that, it looks like Jeremiah Brooks is going to be somewhat okay. Quarter definitely with the most damage out of all of that. Just unfortunate positioning for him coming off the corner.
I'll tell you who it's unfortunate for is Ethan Quarter. He went down low to miss all of that and still managed to get caught up in it with Brooks spinning back across the racetrack and just got tagged heavy damage for that 818 car. So not going to be a good start to Quarter's night.
And I believe, yeah, Quarter was the one that ended up a lap down and had some issues at Talladega. So 2 races in a row where he's just in the middle of something that wasn't really his own doing. So definitely frustrating for him. He's now sitting on pit road repairing damage. They put the nose back on it, so he might be okay, but definitely a lot more damage than what he would like to be dealing with tonight.
None of the leaders came down to get fuel. It appears that everybody who came onto pit road was involved or really close to being involved to that last caution. So they will retake the green flag in the order that they received the caution flag on lap as we pace for lap number 28 of this event here. And Elliot Freilich still mired back there. Obviously, we didn't get a whole lot of green flag runs, but Freilich being mired back in that around about 8th, 9th, 10th position. Not exactly the night that he needs on points, with Schmidt up there battling in that top 4. You think we're going to see him rebound?
I don't know. I'm interested. There's a lot of guys kind of shuffling around. Obviously, we've had, Grindel and AJ Green and Cabrera's all driven, or I'm sorry, Brandon Sampson, who we haven't mentioned literally at all tonight, started 19th up to 10th. There's a lot of guys that have been able to drive up through the field, but then there's some guys like Mo Perry, Cole Freilich, and others that have kind of either dropped or stayed stationary to where they are. So, I mean, he definitely made some ground there. He was running about 11th before these cautions started happening. He's up to 8th now, going to get to start on the outside. Maybe that benefits him, but we'll have to see. And I'm really interested to see what these guys towards the back can do as well. We've got still guys like Steven Gibson, Jackson Sims, Jack Painter, all piled back there 15th or worse right now. So there's still some talent behind him that wants to make their way up to the front. It's going to be interesting to see when we get another long green flag run, how well these guys can work their way up through the field.
I'll tell you who I'm interested to see is Kendall Carpenter. Just pit under that last lap. Didn't pit with the cars that came down to repair damage on the initial pit open, but elected to come down, top off, get some tires, I believe, as well. So we'll have to see how he can march through this field. Certainly a car with speed to watch. As green flag's back out on the track, and once again, Lewandowski shot out of a cannon. Another 3-car gap, or a 3-car length gap, rather, as they head off into turn number 1. Grindel and Chin side by side for that second spot.
Yeah, you got to wonder if that's strategy by Carpenter. Maybe there's something to do with the fuel again. Apologies to all the fans. We didn't get the exact fuel numbers on how long they can go. But I'm wondering if maybe that's something for Carpenter where he knows he can make it in 1 or 2, or 2, maybe 3 stops from here and make it the rest of the way. Is Freilich working that outside lane. He's going to get AJ Green down the front stretch and get right up to Jonathan Oates, and he can see that number 79 car, and that's, again, what he mentioned before the race started. He just wanted to be able to see William Schmidt out his windshield or in his mirror, and he's got that now as he approaches Schmidt off of turn 2.
Look at that. Move Freilich back up into the top 10. He must have heard us talking, Elliot, and took it personally. Freilich has come to party here, as he has now re-entered the top 5 on coming to lap number 32 in this event. This championship is going to go right down to the wire.
So really impressed with Grindel sitting up here running second, doing a great job as these guys all battle for about third on back. Schmidt now back around Joshua Chin in that third spot. Freilich on looking with Jack Painter right there working the outside lane around, I believe that was Oates or maybe AJ Green. But I gotta give that 70 car of Harry Grindel credit. He's done a phenomenal job working his way up here. I'm really interested to see if he can go and attack Lewandowski here for the lead, and he kind of is going off into turn 1. He's trying.
He's looking low, tucks back in line, and will follow Lewandowski on through the through turn number 1 and 2 here on that bottom side. But yeah, 11 laps on these tires, and Harry Grindel is not going away.
And Lewandowski kind of slipped up off the corner there. Grindel has a pretty good run down the backstretch, doesn't do anything with it as they go off into turn 3. Philip Kraus working that outside line way behind them, making moves on Joshua Chin as the top 3 are starting to kind of split away here. I feel like Schmidt might be picking up his pace too. He might be seeing, the 08 sitting out there, and he's like, I need to start leading some laps. I got to get, this bonus point if I'm going to make this happen now that Freilic's right behind him. And maybe that's putting a little bit of pressure on Schmidt as he's starting to look towards Grindel, who's now looking towards the lead. Grindel, big run off turn 2.
Tucks back in line behind Lewandowski, but he is making his presence known as the 70 car of Harry Grindel. Is going to peek to the inside here, a little bit narrower of an exit off of that turn, and will actually lose a little bit of time to Lewandowski, and that's going to allow the 79 of William Schmidt and the 19 of Philip Kraus roll right up to his back bumper, and look at Kraus ripping that top side. He's going to be side by side with Schmidt as they come off the banking and down the back straightaway.
Kraus has been patient, and it has paid off. Look at the drive. He gets into the corner, side by side with Grindel now, and he's going to have a run on Lewandowski coming off of turn 4. But Kraus has made that outside lane work. It's almost like the track's starting to cool down, and that top lane is really starting to come in, and he's there. Lewandowski goes back towards the bottom. Kraus going to be able to put a nose out. Lewandowski actually going to slide back up to the top lane and give Kraus a bit of a question mark here. Does he go to the bottom? Does he stay on the top? Lewandowski slides off the corner. Grindel gets loose. Schmidt's right there. Battle for third now as Kraus is all over the back of Lewandowski for the lead.
Lewandowski dives low. Philip Kraus stays on that high side that he knows oh so well. It's gotten up here. Why go away from it? Lewandowski now sliding right up in front of him. Kraus throws the crossover on him. He will now look low as they go off into turn number 1. And Lewandowski elects to take the middle lane. Now will slide up to the high side. And very interesting line from Thomas Lewandowski, but he's still going to be side by side with the 19 when they head off down the back.
Dead absolute heat at the line. No one led that lap, and it's given to Lewandowski, but it was 0-0-0 on the screen. Kraus still trying to work that outside. The slide job looks incredibly difficult to pull off. You just saw him try to do it, and he couldn't quite get there. So Lewandowski doing all he can to kind of hold this clean air, but Philip Kraus putting up a fight now.
Kraus down to the bottom of the racetrack. Lewandowski once again sliding up to the wall there, trying to get that run off the top side and maintain position here. He will do just that. Kraus tucks back in line, move Lewandowski back out in front as they head off into turn number 3. Meanwhile, they're side by side for the third spot. That's Harry Grindel on the top side and William Schmidt down low on the bottom.
Yeah, you can see Lewandowski was definitely saving, because now all of a sudden these guys have pulled a half second over Grindel and Schmidt. They're trying to get gone, or Kraus is just pressuring Lewandowski so much that they're driving it hard. Now they're 8/10 up that last time by, so there was a lot left in the tank, and Grindel and Schmidt are just having to watch on as Schmidt's still trying to make this move on Grindel.
I'll tell you who's loving the picture that he's watching right now is Cole Freilich, who's lurking back behind Schmidt, keeping his championship rival in check there, watching him fight that 70 car and getting pinched down rather when they're side by side over the last couple laps, knowing that that's going to wear on Schmidt's tires, and Freilich will look to capitalize on that when they get later in the run here, and they are still side by side for that lead.
Yeah, and Kraus has not given up, and they're really consistent. I think Kraus is just looking to try to get enough side draft to be able to pull Lewandowski and be next to him into 3 and 4, but it's just not quite there. And I'm kind of interested in Kraus trying to run the top in 3 and 4. Usually it's not the prominent line. That's why Lewandowski's going back to the bottom. But Kraus really just trying to go where Lewandowski isn't, put clean air on his nose. And he keeps getting that run. This time it just doesn't work. Now he's going to have a chance to go to the top because he doesn't get there on the 08. And Lewandowski going to do that same slide. Drives it in hard, slides in the middle of the corner. Meanwhile, Kraus backs it in and then tries to get off. And Lewandowski's still actually getting a big run that way. But you got to wonder, is he tearing up the tires at all doing that? Because it is an abnormal line. It's a little interesting. We'll have to see how much these guys really push and how hard they run their tires out as they're still driving away from Grindel and Schmidt.
Yeah, they've opened up over a 1.5 second gap over third and fourth spot here as now we look farther back in the field. That's AJ Green and Brandon Sampson in the 96 side by side. doing their best Philip Kraus and Thomas Lewandowski impression as they'll go side by side down into turn number 1. Give the advantage to Sampson there as he will slide up and check that position from AJ Green. Back up front, still side by side. Philip Kraus now on the top side of 3 and 4. Lewandowski down low in through 3 and 4, and it looks like Kraus is going to have the run and the lead here when they get back to the line.
Yeah, Kraus cleared him in 1 and 2. Lewandowski slipped up, couldn't get back in the gas well enough in the middle of 1 and 2. These guys still absolutely pulling tenths on those guys behind him. 3 tenths quicker than pretty much anybody on track, it looks like. As now Kraus single-handedly out ahead, runs the bottom. So obviously he knows that bottom lane's where he wants to be, but he keeps using that top to get runs. As now he goes back to the top in 3 and 4, trying to drive away now that he's taken over the lead.
Well, he's found his line, and he is sticking to it, and I commend him for it. And it has obviously worked as Philip Kraus leads another one here, trying to drive away from Lewandowski, who simply will not go away. A master of saving tires is Lewandowski. He's going to be here for the long haul. Meanwhile, you can throw a blanket over the top, the rest of the top 5, and then top 6. Cole Freilich gets spun, put into the wall. Caution's out on the Speedway. Big hit for Freilich, and that might just be his championship hopes, Elliot.
We've got to see. Wow. There's no nose on it. It's bad. We'll have to go back and rewatch the replay. I didn't catch that live. It may have been a bad impact. We'll have to see. But there's other guys that have hit the wall pretty hard and haven't had their night ended yet. We will go back and say that Ethan Corder is officially out of the race after his incident. Noah Carmichael, who had a pretty hard inside lick that we showed earlier, still hasn't had the front end put on his car, and he is down either power or at least a ton of aero because he's suffering. Carpenter also, we didn't document this, but he didn't gain any time on that last run. So right here you can see Freilich just trying to squeeze. Grindel didn't get off the corner very well. That is not a good impact, but Shin really nowhere to go. Freilich was trying to get under Grindel. He's lucky he didn't get hit by anybody else, and unfortunately for Cole Freilich, I think he's wishing he would have just tapped the brake right there and just stayed behind Grindel. But for him, Harry didn't get off the corner very well, tried to go to the inside. Shin had a big run too, trying to go to the inside of him, make it 3 wide, and unfortunately they all just kind of ran out of room. And I'm sure, Freilich can look back at that 100 different ways. If he keeps turning left, he probably turns into the same issue as Nolan Sanford. So Noah Carmichael, sorry. I think that's probably best case scenario for Cole Freilich, but he is definitely hurt. And this turns into opportunity William Schmidt.
Yeah, William Schmidt just had the championship dropped in his lap pretty much after that one. Heavy impact for your coming into the night championship leader Cole Freilich. As now you look at the race off pit road, Lewandowski will retain, and Harry Grindel runs right back up into the second spot. I take that back. Schmidt got him at the line, so Harry Grindel to third at least, but woo buddy, Elliot, this championship just got turned on its head.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see. Right now you can see points as they run, and I mean, that's not going to change. Freilich is very much suffering right here, and he is ultimately the last car in line. I'm interested to see what's going on with Kendall Carpenter. He hasn't left pit road either. I wonder if he's got some weird damage that we were unaware of. I know we said he pitted super late in the last run. We thought he was going to take tires and drive up through the field. Not the case. But he's still sitting there. Freilich is damage repairing right now as pace car comes off of turn 4. He's left pit road. They've waved off the restart, and Freilich is suffering from damage right now. They did not put a nose on it, so he is going to have massive aero damage. We're just going to have to keep up with exactly what's going on.
Well, he's hoping that the high horsepower of this car can overcome the aero deficiency, and I'm sure on the straightaways that might work, but when we get down in the corners, it's going to be a handful for him. Definitely one to watch here as Cole Freilich just tries to soldier this thing home and, salvage anything at this point. That 21-point gap, if he can get back up there, it'll be a performance of a lifetime, but that's a heavy and hard hit to take in the final race of the championship.
We do need to mention John Daniels and Nicholas Badilmick have stayed out. That'll be interesting. Always love guys on old tires here. You got to watch the wheels spin and make sure that nothing happens. But that puts Schmidt in a really vulnerable spot. He's 4th. You can't be aggressive here. You don't want to do what Cole Freilich just did. You just want to survive. right here and make it through this lap. But Cole Freilich, obviously the story right now, he's going to line up about 29th here with a ton of damage. They did not put the nose back on that car. He's going to be down aero, might be down engine power as well. And we're just going to have to keep you updated on how he's doing and if he gains any spots or how that damage repair goes.
The field has received the 1 to green signal, and good point, Elliot. John Daniels, Nicholas Badimlik staying out on these 20-lap-old tires up in front of this pack of snarling fresh sticker tires. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. You mentioned the tire slip. If you're William Schmidt, that is probably the most dangerous spot to be right now, being behind the driver on the outside lane who's going to be reacting to the person to the inside, the control driver trying to go. All it takes is one little slip up, and William Schmidt's right back there with Cole Freilich.
Yeah, I'm never one to advocate, restarting in an awkward spot or something, but if I'm Schmidt, knowing what just happened to Freilich, I'm leaving about a car length up to the 77 and letting it work itself out. I know it kind of hurts, Movic and Green and everyone behind him, and it honestly hurts him, but I'd rather lose a spot to Grundle or to the 96 of Sampson and just kind of reset in about 5th. At this point, he just needs to be 5 or 6 spots ahead of Freilich, and Freilich is destroyed right now. So we'll have to see how this restart goes and how his front row gets going.
Survival's the name of the game for William Schmidt here. Pace car dives on the pit road. John Daniels has the field in his control, gets away cleanly, as well as Nicholas Badimlik. And now Schmidt immediately ducks down to cover the spot there on the bottom side. He will have that 4th place spot right behind Lewandowski as John Daniels leads this field, but here comes Badimlik there on the high side. He's going to have the run and quite possibly the lead when they get to turn 3. 3 wide down the back. Lewandowski making it known. He's got sticker tires right there in the middle trying to make it work.
Might be something to say about warmed up tires. Badimlik really working that outside. He's going to hold the lead. He's going to lead this lap over Lewandowski. Great run for the 77, and it works for him well. John Daniels going to go backwards here as he deals with Braden Movic for about that 5th spot as we've got the 77 on point. Lewandowski looking to the inside off turn 2.
Oh, and a big slip up there from Lewandowski. Can Schmidt capitalize here? He gets to the back bumper of Badimlik, gives him a little bump, a nudge down into turn number 3. They're going to be 3 wide once again. Badimlik goes to the top side of the racetrack. 3 wide when they come off of turn number 4. And it looks like, Lewandowski and Schmidt going to get through. Grindel follows suit, and now it's Badimlik who's getting hung out to dry on that top side that was just working for him a lap ago.
And Schmidt trying to go for the lead here over Lewandowski. Grindel right up behind him, but Schmidt trying to put a point back on this race and go to the lead.
Yeah, survival is no longer... survival might be the name of the game, but Schmidt's not just going to lie down and take it. He is going for the lead of this race, pinching the 08 of Thomas Lewandowski down. Move Schmidt up into the lead with that momentum on the top side there. Lewandowski falls back to 2nd with Grindel, and here comes Braden Movic there on the bottom side looking for 3rd.
And we just had a flash on the screen out towards the bottom. Philip Kraus has actually stayed on pit road and has not re-entered this race. He was your leader. He was the one that was battling Lewandowski. So now that Kraus is out of this race, how does Lewandowski run this out? He felt like he probably had the fastest car over everybody else. Was everyone else really saving that much? Or is Lewandowski the class of the field as he looks back to the inside of William Schmidt? Behind them, Movic looking underneath Harry Grindel right now for 3rd.
This whole top 6, 7 cars putting on a show right now with these new tires here. And to your point, Elliot, I think as these runs go, or as the caution flags fall in these fixed iRacing races, you get to see where people can start to feel more comfortable pushing harder for more often, or where they realize that the tire drop off is. And Schmidt seems to know that he's got a lot of speed early on, and he is taking it and running with it. 3 car length gap as he will fire off into turn number 1. And they're still side by side for the 2nd place spot. Grindel pinching the 08 of Lewandowski down, and he will have the spot when they get up off turn number 2 down the back.
Quick update as all this goes on. You see Josh Chin trying to work his way through there. Jonathan Oates all the way back to 26. Not really sure what happened to him. We lost him in all of this mayhem. He is trying to work his way back up to the front. Carpenter is all the way down in 30th. No updates on him really as to what's going on. Freilich, 32nd, last car on the lead lap with absolutely no pace compared to what he had earlier, running about 34 flats, while everybody else up towards the front running 8/10 quicker than him. So still a lot of damage repair to do. Could potentially still come back. These cars are very resilient, but he's going to need yellows and he's going to need a lot of help as we approach halfway.
Yep, lap number 55. It'll be 56 when they come to the line this time in a 134-lap race, and William Schmidt is leading the way right now. Lewandowski working the back bumper of that 70 car of Harry Grindel. He wants that spot back, knows that he can get it. It's just a matter of time at this point. Now he looks to the top side. He's going to try and get that run that he had working the top side in the back half of the last green flag run here. Now he comes down to the bottom side. Side by side they go into turn number 1. Lewandowski fires it down in there.
Another quick update as these guys battle really hard for second. We talked about guys like Nolan Sanford, Steven Gibson, Jackson Sims. They're all running 13th, 14th, and 15th just outside the top 10. Don't forget, they've got a chance to get up here. We've still got guys that are trying to drive their way up to the front, much like Brandon Sampson and Chris Lilly, who started back to about 20th, and are both right inside the top 10.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about the slow march to the front there, as now you ride on board with Jackson Sims, currently shown in the 15th spot. So long way to go for him, but he can now see the front of this pack. They're not getting away from him like they used to in the first half of this race. So definitely some names to watch as they come up through the field here.
Schmidt still holding serve. Lewandowski still running that interesting line of driving it in hard, drifting up to the top, and driving it off. I mean, it looks like it's destroying his tires, but it worked really well for him in the last run, so I'm not going to say anything. Grindel all over the back of Schmidt, though, really wants that spot, and you can see the ground that Lewandowski makes up down the straightaway doing what he did. Chin just behind him. These top 4 starting to stretch out a little bit over the rest of the field.
Something to be said about that Lewandowski line. I thought it was very interesting when the real-life NASCAR Cup cars came to Homestead-Miami a couple weeks ago. I saw a lot of drivers running this exact same line that Lewandowski's running, where they'd enter low to mid and then slide up right in the middle of the corner. I thought it was so peculiar, but I believe in real life they were using it as a way to put dirty air on a car that they had just passed. Lewandowski's doing it when he's all by his lonesome, and it appears to be working for him. He's still holding court in that 3rd spot, not letting these top 2 get away from him. So Lewandowski, certainly a storyline to watch going forward.
Well, I think the interesting thing is he's only doing it in 1 and 2. He does not do it in 3 and 4. He runs a traditional line either towards the middle, the bottom, or the top through 3 and 4, but he holds a normal line all the way through the apex. But in 1 and 2, he does a kind of, it's not a diamond, it's not really an arc, it's an opposite. It's an opposite late apex. It's a drive in hard, go out wide, and then just kind of hold that line. But you can see in 3 and 4, he just runs the bottom to see if he can get a run under Grindel. No such luck, but you'll watch he'll do the same thing down here in 1 and 2, where he drives in hard through the middle, lets it drift up, and then gets off the corner. And as I say that, he's going to do the opposite and just run the bottom. But we'll have to see how that works out for him over the long run, as now, these top 4 are starting to separate themselves about a half second up of AJ Green.
Grindel slipped up there. Here comes Lewandowski to capitalize. He looks to the bottom of the racetrack as they head into turn number 3. Grindel pinching him down there, keeping him nailed to that white line there, and it's going to work for him. Lewandowski slips up. Grindel keeps that 2nd place spot, and he will slide back into the clutches of Josh Chin, who has run this group right back down, and now they will go side by side, and there goes Lewandowski back to his oddball line, as you say, and he will get that run off of turn number 2, and they will be nose to tail when they head down the back.
Yeah, you can see what that pinch does. Lewandowski just no drive through the middle of the corner. He had to check up to avoid kind of drifting up into Grindel that last time. So Grindel just kind of running his line, but making sure the 08 can't really get under him. I really like what Harry's been doing tonight, and he's been really consistent about whoever the leader is. He's still just been running up inside the top 5, as I believe Joshua Chin may have caught the wall there. He came over to chat and said something. Doesn't look like he hit anything, but starting to lose a little bit of ground back here to Lewandowski and the others.
Yeah, definitely lost some pace there on that front straightaway, whatever happened. But now he's got a big run down the back, and it's going to bring him right back to the back bumper of Lewandowski and will make this group a foursome once again now as they come back across the line. 64 laps completed this time in Homestead-Miami.
And I'm not really sure what's going on, but Kendall Carpenter is way off pace, and Freilich is notably well off the pace, running 34.9s to William Schmidt's 33.6. So he is over a second slower than the leaders, and you just gotta think that maybe he's kind of throwing in the towel, or I gotta hope that the yellow comes out for him and he can get more of this done. But he was only about a second slower. I'm wondering if he's got enough front end damage that it's actually wearing the right front more and making that car tighter and hurting it more and more each lap, and just doing some bad stuff to those tires. But not working out for him, as we've got a really good battle here. Grindel not giving up over William Schmidt. And don't forget, William Schmidt gets wrecked. This thing's wide open. They're both pretty even on where they were. If William Schmidt ends up in a bad situation as well, this is not over for Cole Freilich.
Well, Grindel has capitalized on a bad run or a bad exit from turn number 2 of William Schmidt, is now drawn a bead alongside of him and has wrapped that wrapped the outside lane, pinched Schmidt down to that bottom line like he's been doing. He had the lead that time when they crossed the start finish, and that's going to bring Lewandowski right to the doors of Schmidt down the back here. Schmidt going backwards in a hurry as Grindel leads the way now.
And this is similar to how that first run happened. Schmidt just kept running the bottom, stayed very committed, made up. He was pretty fast initially, let a couple guys go, and then just started to sink backwards. Fell into about 4th, but was comfortable there, and it looks like it's about to be the same thing. I'm just really interested in how Lewandowski is running this line, because the way he gets into the corner and gets to the middle, he drives in really hard there. He gets to the middle, but then he doesn't lose a ton of ground from the middle off. Although we lost a bit of ground to Grindel there, but everyone else he seems to be pretty competitive with. That's how he got around Schmidt, as now big run down the backstretch, gets to the back of Grindel, doesn't do anything with it quite yet. Chin now to the outside for second.
Yep, Chin's trying to work that top side there as we ride along board with Thomas Lewandowski, who looks to the outside of Grindel. Nothing there. Going to get right to the back bumper of Harry Grindel when they go out. Teases the inside lane, then throws sells him a dummy, goes right back to that outside lane that he's been running up to block Josh Chin now, who is wrapping that top side. And now it's really working for Joshua Chin, who's going to have a big run. And the 08 as well. He's going to get to the inside of Grindel. Well, they're going to be side by side for the lead when they go into 3.
And they touch a little bit. They're 3 wide. Chin all the way on the outside. Big move from Josh Chin. They're 3 wide. Exiting turn 4. We have just passed halfway, and Grindel needs to kind of save it and back out of it a little bit. Joshua Chin takes it away from them as they just kind of went into the corner battling each other, and Chin said, I'll take this around the outside, thank you very much. Joshua Chin to the lead for the first time tonight. Lewandowski does clear Grindel for second, but that got really dicey really quick for all 3 of those guys just past halfway.
Yeah, I was visibly cringing there as they were 3 wide off of turn number 4 there. But it's worked out for Joshua Chin, who now has the lead, wrapping that top side, and he's looking to scurry away from this group of drivers. Another lap led, lap number 70 now in the books here at Homestead. And man, what a fight this is turned out to be, Elliot, with the tires going away on the 79 and the 70, the tire saving of Josh Chin and Thomas Lewandowski. Big moment here at the halfway point of this race.
And Noah Carmichael about to go a lap down, running Joshua Chin's line right now. Chin needs to take the bottom to get around him. That might give Lewandowski a bit of a chance here as they go off into turn 1. We're going to have to see where Carmichael decides to run there. He's going to also run the top again, so Lewandowski not going to be able to run his normal line. Is now William Schmidt going to potentially use Carmichael as a pick. Grindel right there behind him. Schmidt needs to avoid being in a bad position. He's going to clear Grindel. He's going to be next to Carmichael and move Schmidt back up into 3rd.
Well, that's a perfect pick and roll there from William Schmidt to maintain the position on Harry Grindel. He will have that 3rd spot when they go off into turn number 3 through the corners here and down to the front straightaway. So now these guys, as a little bit of wall contact there for Harry Grindel, that the rear tires there look like they're starting to get away from the 70 car, Elliot.
Yeah, and again, that's, he was ripping the top all the way through that run, started up there, obviously, and just wanted to make hay and put himself in a good spot. But Obviously, those tires starting to run away from him, and that's why I'm so concerned with, someone like Josh Chin that did the same thing. We've got a yellow big wreck between about 3 or 4 cars back there, but I guess now we'll have to see what these tires do later on. Pervalarkis right there on your screen. I don't know who else that was involved. That looks like is that the 53? Is the 53 of Griffin Jones.
Griffin Jones involved heavy contact for him. We're going to have to go back and get a replay of it. It happened in the back of this pack, down the back straightaway, pretty much right where Cole Freilich's wreck happened. Elliot, that the exit of 2 halfway down the back has proven to be a trouble spot tonight.
I'll give Harry Grindell a bit of a shout out. He said his hands are already hurting, buddy. You got a little under half this race left. You got to get back up on it if you want to go get this win. But we love what you're doing tonight, man, and can't wait to see where you end up with this. But get them things ice afterwards. We'll go back and look at what happened here. But yeah, to your point, I think a lot of these things happen on the backstretch because these cars kind of come off the corner and they're still sliding, and you don't really realize it until you're trying to straighten it out. And then you're kind of counter steering it and you realize you're sliding both ways. And, if the guy below you doesn't give you a ton of room, you find yourself in the outside wall, or you find yourself dooring the other guy. And it just kind of happens. But we'll have to see how this caution kind of turned out with the 17-49. That's Oates right there. Oates just kind of drove over Pervalarkis, honestly. It looked like Oates just kind of got a better run, and then Pervalarkis trying to gather it up. And, oh, man. Could not gather it up. Unfortunate situation for all those guys back there as Pervalarkis came back across the track in front of Griffin Jones and others.
Well, he looked like he was going to save it down there on the bottom side, and then he hooked it right into the path of Griffin Jones, unfortunately, giving the two of them heavy contact here as we ride on board. And that's a scary hit just to watching the replay.
It's also Jamie Ritchie Price. That was Jamie Ritchie Price in the blue 47 back behind them that also nowhere to go, nothing to do. Right here, his on board, and yeah, I mean, he can't even see that happening because of where Griffin Jones's car was. But I think he would have had that saved if he wasn't trying to save it on the apron. And I mean, we've seen Kyle Busch do that how many years ago at Daytona, but it is not easy to do when that car is trying to go down over the apron and shoot back up the track and everything. It's borderline impossible to save that. And you can see Pervalarkis did a great job of trying, but he kind of, he zigged and zagged a little bit too much, and he may have zagged where he needed to zig or otherwise. And unfortunately, man, hard impact for the 53, hard impact for the 47. And that'll probably be the end of at least Griffin Jones and Jamie Ritchie Price's night, if not also Pervalarkis.
The field has received the 1 to go signal, and Elliott, we've got 2 more guys who have stayed out on 30-lap old tires. Braden Movick has moved himself into prime position here. He will control the field when the pace car dives on the pit road. With Chris Lilly in the 53 to his inside, Movick's elected to take the top side, so he will have control on the outside. But 30-lap old tires. We thought that the other two, John Daniels, we thought they were crazy for staying out with those tires, how they were going to manage the restart. What's going to happen with these two, the 42 and the 53?
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this from Movick. I think he had potential to go up here and run a lot better, or potentially contend for this win, but we'll have to see. These are old tires.
Pace car dives on the pit road here. Field's in control of Braden Movick, who gets away cleanly. The 53 left spinning his tires there, and that's going to open the door for William Schmidt to look low. He's going to be side by side with Braden Movick when they go through 1 and 2 here. 3 wide for the second, or for the third place spot. Josh Chin backs out of it. Schmidt gets past Movick and reclaims this lead before they even get to the halfway point in the lap. And here comes Harry Grindell to follow suit now. These older tires, I mean, Movick's still sticking with him there on that outside, doing exactly what Grindell's been doing to his adversaries, pinching them down, making him run that lower lane, and it's working for him, at least on lap number 1. What's going to happen on lap number 2? Caution's out on the speedway, and I can't see anybody who's stopped on track.
Well, I was about to say Trey Patton kind of self-spun off into turn 1, just unhooked the rears and hit the outside wall. I'm not sure if they're throwing a delayed yellow for that. You can see his front end damage. He went up and hit the outside wall, but it didn't collect anyone So I'm not sure if it's a delayed yellow from that or if something else may have triggered it, but it looks like it was an admin thrown yellow, so it may have just been based off of Trey Patton's incident. We'll go back and pull that back up for you. But yeah, I'm not sure about Movik's strategy here. I'm interested to see how it works out for him. Schmidt obviously to the lead. And here's Trey Patton's incident. Drove into the corner a little bit too hard, a little bit too loose there, and then overcorrects unfortunately hard, impacting the outside wall. That'll basically finish off his night. But he was running towards the back, so no one else near him. I think they're just throwing a delayed yellow because I feel it should have been an iRacing yellow there.
It should have. A car was sideways on the racing surface. In any other capacity, that would be a caution. So aptly thrown by the admins here. And I'll tell you who this benefits is Cole Freilich to try and get more of that damage repaired. He's had now 2 back-to-back yellows, make it 3 counting the wreck that he was in. So the pace laps after that. So Cole Freilich getting a break here, as he's still got no bumper on that car, but it's definitely going to help his recovery.
Yeah, he has yet to go a lap down. We'll have to. Also, I'm interested to know what's been happening with Kendall Carpenter tonight. We really expected him to have a ton of speed, and he has been running back towards the pack, towards the back half of this pack all night long. And now he's speeding down pit road, I believe. But yeah, some interesting stories towards the back that we haven't really been able to cover because we just don't know enough about it. But we'll try to get some information later on in this race. But we'll have to see what Movic can do with these tires and what the reasoning is behind this. Again, apologies for not knowing exactly how many sets we had. There's obviously some type of strategy that Movic has for this. And if it works out, it works out. I'm just kind of weary of it because of the fact that he was already running up around the top 5. I don't think it was really necessary to sit here and do this. But, if it gives him an extra set for later and he can work this out, maybe he's going to look like a genius. And I'm just the one that doesn't quite understand the strategy at this point.
Well, we don't have a whole lot of tools up here in the booth, so there's some guesswork involved. We're not the omnipotent commentators of TV, but we do the best we can. As I believe the field's going to receive the 1 to go signal this time, and Freilich's still on pit road. So now we are getting footage of what happened to Kendall Carpenter. This was under the second yellow of the race. Ooh. That looks like a screen went black, Elliot, or a wheel disconnected, something.
Well,
Heavy contact for him.
It's insanely bizarre that it kind of pieced back together there with no visible damage. That's why I've been so confused. I just kept looking at his car and there was just nothing wrong. Yeah, it's almost like some type of issue with his wheel or his pedals, or some type of equipment issue there, and the car just kind of goes straight and he can't really do anything about it, and then it immediately fixes itself. I don't know, but that would certainly explain why Kendall Carpenter has had a ton of issues. Appreciate that, Jeff, getting back to that. And yeah, for all the Kendall Carpenter fans out there, that's why we don't see him running up inside the top 10 as we're so accustomed to.
The field is double filed back up in the banks of turn number 3 and 4. William Schmidt will have the field in his control when the pace car dives onto pit road. Braden Movic still up there in the second place spot with those old tires. Watch the restart that Schmidt's going to get compared to the 42 of Braden Movic, as now green flag's back out. Schmidt is shot out of a cannon there, as Movic looks like he's going to get away pretty cleanly now. We'll try and slot down in the second place spot. Nope. Harry Grindell's there, and he will get pinched down, and now Movic will reclaim that second place spot confidently, I'll say, or completely rather, as now they're 3 wide there for the third place spot. Lewandowski has re-entered the chat. Josh Chin up in the wall on the top side, and Harry Grindell pinching Lewandowski down on the bottom once again, and Lewandowski gets loose, manages to save it, and he will rebound and tuck back into the 5th place spot.
It's only about, the second or third time those 3 have done that tonight. So the 93 to 70 in the 08 giving us a little bit of a show. I'm impressed by the fact that Movic can hold up here with these tires. He might know something that we don't, and he's making that work right now. So as Josh Chin goes by, it's just nice to see him hold on for now. Maybe those tires are actually going to work for him for a bit. Quick note, Freilich unable to really get anything done visibly to his damage. He still does not have a nose, as Mavic now going to lose that spot to Grindel. That's for third. So Cole Freilich still suffering, as well as Jonathan Oates back up inside the top 10, was just involved in one of those earlier yellows there. And he will soldier on and move up inside the top 10 after his situation went awry, as Grindel really loose. And now you've got Lewandowski back up in the top 5.
Yeah, big moment there for the 70 of Grindel, loose off of turn number 2, and now Mavic and Lewandowski have capitalized, and now the 70 car is going to have to fight back through them now, as he is still under attack from AJ Green, and Jack Painter now looking to capitalize on his misfortune as well. Boy, you just, on these restarts, you slip up once, and it's all over but the crying. You're suddenly in a dogfight here now as the 48 clears the 70, and now Jack Painter will draw as a bead alongside to try and take the 6th place spot.
Yeah, it's weird. It feels like the inside line isn't where... Remember how I said the inside line's where everybody's going to want to be on the restarts, and it just looks like that's not how it feels. But as the run goes on, the inside guy is the one that seems to be saving tire, unless you're Lewandowski and making that interesting line through 1 and 2 work. Everyone else that's trying to run, that runs the top, seems to run through their tires. So it's interesting. Is now you've got Isaac Johnson still. We haven't talked about him pretty much all night, but he has hung around the top 10 all night long, and I'm impressed with that run. That's a really good run for him. Again, someone that's usually involved in accidents, not of his own doing, and just never really finishes where he's running. Tonight he's putting on a really good top 10 show, and hopefully he can close that out. But I got to also give credit to Mavic, who's still sitting here in the top 5 on those old tires. Really interested to see how this run works out for him.
Yeah, he's still sticking around there in that 4th spot, kind of almost holding up this group, but you can never tell with the speed that those top 3 have had. They are starting to pull away from this group here, as now we look back at the mad scramble that this is, as AJ Green draws a bead up to the back bumper of Braden Mavic, now off of turn number 4, and Harry Grindel finally has a clean exit of a corner. He has not been able to have a gripped up exit since the restart, and now he will power around the outside of Jack Painter. So now that 70 car looks to be hooked up, and it looks like he's going to go after 2 in 1 lap here now as he gets to the outside of AJ Green. So Harry Grindel moving back forward here after a couple laps under green flag conditions.
Quick shout out Jackson Sims, Steven Gibson. We talked about them ever closer to the top 10. They're now running 11th and 12th respectively. Nolan Sanford not too far behind them, back in 13th, or 14th, sorry. They're all kind of making their way up here slowly but surely. So good on them. As now Sanford looking under Mo Perry for that 13th spot. As up towards the front, Lewandowski's made his way back around Josh Chin and has now got sights set on William Schmidt going off into turn 3.
They're going to be side by side when they head off into the corner. Lewandowski bombs it down into turn number 3. They will be side by side off of the corner. I believe Schmidt's going to have the run here when they get to the line, and he will reclaim that top spot, as we've got action all over the top 10. Looking back, you can see Grindel taking the fight back to Braden Mavic, who's still hanging around on those old tires, but the lead is still side by side. Lewandowski on the bottom, Schmidt up top.
And I think Mavic's content to just kind of lose a few spots here. I think he knows he's on like 45 lap older tires, so I don't think he's really pressuring anything. He's just running the bottom and seeing where it takes him, as now he kind of slips up there, almost gets run over by AJ Green. But we've still got this battle going on. Lewandowski really tough on the bottom, but he's also not going up and like side drafting William Schmidt at all. He's being really cautious, really nice about everything. You got to wonder, as laps start to tick down, is he going to be a little bit more aggressive? How bad does he want this? Also, how bad does he want to try to affect this championship at all? You definitely don't want to get into William Schmidt and be the reason that anything happens. But, man, I know Lewandowski wants this win. You don't come here to just finish second.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Elliott, as now Lewandowski runs the top side, trying to rip the wall in 3 and 4, looking for any grip that he can to get back to the back bumper of William Schmidt, and it doesn't look like he's gonna get within a car length or so, but now both of them down to the bottom of the racetrack, and they will wrap that bottom lane there. As Josh Chin slips up now, Harry Grindel's going to capitalize. They're going to be side by side down the back straightaway here. 70 car on the march here early on in this green flag run. Can he stay with them now, as he's going to clear Josh Chin off into turn number 3, move that 70 car up into the 3rd spot. He's on a mission, Elliot.
Yeah, Chin had a ton of pace firing off, but has completely missed the boat here a few laps into this run. I'm not sure if maybe he just doesn't like this set of tires or what's really happened with the 93, but he is just not firing as well as he was before, as AJ Green and Muvik make a little bit of contact behind him. You can see Muvik starting to slide on corner exit. He's just not getting back into gas because he's got those older tires, as AJ's trying to look to the inside to get around him, but Muvik's not moving off the bottom. He's basically saying, if you're going to pass me, go to the top, and Green's like, I'm pretty content down here on the bottom, but can't quite get the run to get underneath him. Lewandowski's still trying to work over Schmidt as they go off into turn 1 now.
Yeah, AJ Green's patience is starting to wear thin, as evidenced by the use of the chrome horn, and you can tell it's stacked up. Look at this gaggle of cars that it has brought to their back bumper. Jackson Sims now has moved into the top 10. It's the 96 of Sampson as well. All these guys starting to run over each other here, but they can't get by the older tires of Braden Muvik, who continues to park it down there on that bottom side and will not give that spot up.
It's almost like I feel like a bunch of these guys think that they're saving tires or something. Like maybe Muvik is saving tires and don't realize that he's on old tires. Because that's a strategy, you know, just get in line, save some tire, and go for it later. If they think this is going to run all the way out, maybe they can make it on fuel. There's only 40 laps to go here. So I don't know, but right now Muvik is somewhat holding these guys up. They're all about 2 seconds off the lead as Grindel starts to drive away, and Chin is just sitting right up in front of them running the top. But you can see, yes, Sims has gotten here, Sampson's there, Jack Painter's been floating around there, Isaac Johnson, Oates, everybody. That's about all the way back to 15th is that group from 4th on back.
It's funny, with the pace that the top 2 have had, and Harry Grindel now scooting away as well, is loving what he's seeing in his rearview mirror, all this fighting going on. It's hard to tell whether... The only evidence that Muvik is holding this group up is the fact that he has older tires. Other than that, it would just appear that under normal circumstances that the top 3 are driving away. But these guys starting to get really bottlenecked behind Braden Muvik, as now Jackson Sims draws alongside AJ Green. He's going to take a stab at Braden Muvik when he gets up here to his back bumper and elects to take that middle lane to try and get a run. There, Braden Muvik is the guide-on bearer for a marching platoon now, as everyone's 2 by 2 by 2 all the way behind him there, back to the 10th place spot.
And you could say the top 3 are driving away, but I mean, Chin's been really fast too, and he's not getting anywhere. Maybe he didn't really, he definitely took tires last time. I don't know, but he's not, you know, he's not driving away, and he's on fresh stuff too, and he's been one of the faster guys. So it's an interesting little scenario that's going on, but we know Schmidt, Lewandowski, and Grindel have had pace all night long, and it's why they're driving away from the rest of the field. But as these laps tick on, they're really not getting that far away. Muvik's maybe lost about a half a second over the last 5 or 6 laps. That's about a 10th a lap. That's not a huge difference for him being on 40 lap older tires than the field. So, yeah. Definitely an interesting strategy by Muvik, as these guys all try to work their way around each other still.
Muvik has been on the racetrack on the same set of tires for 53 laps now, as they've completed lap number 98. So, Elliot, now the question starts to become, or maybe the answer for us in this case, how long can he go on fuel? Because he's been out here for a good long time. He's had a couple caution laps, but lap number 53 on a set of tires also means you haven't come for fuel, and so he's got to be getting light on gas.
Well, I'm interested because Chin's pace is backing off a lot right now, and I know he's on fresh tires. I wonder if these guys are really tight on fuel, and now Chin is starting to kind of save because he sees that he can make it. And I got to imagine that Muvik would be close to the end of his window then, because we went back green with about 55, 60 to go here. We went back green on lap 80. That's, about 55 to go. So I think they're pretty close to the window, as Lewandowski's made the move and has cleared Schmidt. We'll go back up to the lead really quick. Lewandowski made that move around William Schmidt, and he is back to the point.
It took Lewandowski 27 laps, but he finally got back around William Schmidt and is now looking to set sail there on the top side. Going to have the run, and he's going to be clear of the 79. Yeah, he will be this time. I thought Schmidt was going to wrap the bottom and get back to him there, but move the 08 car back to the lead here on lap number 100 of this 134 lap race. Laps starting to tick down now as this gaggle back here for 5th is still just I don't want to say a mess, but it's amazing to watch, that's for sure.
And they have not cleared Muvik, by the way. Muvik is still sitting here in 4th as he gets doored by Sims. Sims drove it down into 1. I think he said, I'm going to clear you this time. I'm not sitting here anymore. So Muvik finally gets displaced by one driver, but it's interesting to me that Chin is going backwards here. There's got to be some fuel strategy going on. Chin's got to be saving something. I don't know. But Muvik has been out here for long enough that we know Chin can probably make it. Granted, Muvik's been out here between, I think, 2 or 3 different caution periods as well. But, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see because Chin had a ton of pace earlier. Now he's dropping all the way behind all these guys. So I'm not sure what's going on with the 93.
Yeah, with how early he is getting off of the gas heading into the corners. Granted, he's taking the top side, so you do kind of break a little bit earlier for when you're going to wrap the wall versus bombing it down into the corner. But he is definitely trying to save some fuel for something. And unfortunately, I wish we had that information to get to the viewers at home, so we apologize about that once again. But Joshua Chin is going backwards while everyone else now has finally, it's taken them 30 laps, but they've gotten around that 93 car.
And it just keeps dragging more and more guys up into this mix. I mean, it is back to about 15th. Nolan Sanford is the caboose in this train. He's made his way all the way up here. And, yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that Muvik's tires are not as big a deal as we thought they were. He is certainly holding these guys up, but he is still only 3.5 seconds behind your leader. He's only about 1.5 seconds behind Harry Grindel. The tires are definitely falling off now, but even when Sims has gotten around him in the last 3 or 4 laps, he hasn't really driven away. He's right there in front of him. Oates just went around Sims. So Muvik's tires, he's kind of proving the tires weren't as big a deal here as we thought they would be.
Which is crazy, Elliot, with the high horsepowers of these cars and the amount of different lanes that you run and how early you get back in the gas, wrapping the top side, as we've seen a lot of these guys do. How Muvik's kept the rears on that car as well as he has is something that needs to be studied, I believe.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I'm more concerned about the fact that he hasn't pit yet. I don't believe he can run the rest of this race out from lap 46. That's about a 90-lap run. Cautions, cautions included, but still, I highly doubt he can do that. No challenge really going on up front, just to keep you updated on that. Lewandowski's opened it up to about a 0.5 second lead. They're about 3 seconds out as Muvik finally hits pit road. That is literally 60 laps-ish, including caution. So, yep. So I got to imagine that for Chin, it's the fact that they probably ran about 5 laps under caution. That'll save them those other 5 laps. We went green with about 55 to go. They're all probably on the dot for fuel, and Chin's probably just trying to save just enough to make this work. Pardon me.
So now, if you're Braden Muvik, the last thing you want to see is that yellow flag being waved. As now we've got more drivers electing to come down and get fuel and tires. Isaac Johnson pits from the 10th spot. Nathan Kiani as well. 2 other drivers that come down. So a group of 4 now. I believe, Elliot, now they know for sure that they can make it at this point. We've reached 28 laps to go, so we're well within the window now.
Yeah, and the question mark's really just going to... Yeah, and the question mark's just going to come down to when these top kind of 3 or 4 guys decide to pit. Muvik's obviously thrown it in, but how much longer do these other guys stay out? And the lap time difference, what is Muvik going to be doing compared to these other guys? Lewandowski's still running 33.8. So if he pits really late, I mean, Muvik might be able to shortcut this, especially with the lack of tire wear. If the lap times don't really fall off as bad, Muvik might be in a good enough spot to shortcut this and potentially win this race.
It's definitely one to watch here, as now Muvik's going to come around and complete his first couple laps with these new tires. He is now exiting turn number 4, so when he gets back across the line, this is going to be the tell right here what lap times that 42 car is running.
33 flat. He's about 8/10 quicker right now than Lewandowski this late in the run.
So yeah, to your point, Elliot, tires, honestly, the fall off not anywhere near what I imagine.
Yeah, less than a second. So, if Lewandowski and Schmidt continue to stay, so for Schmidt's case, I don't think anything matters. Pit whenever you want here. You can pit now. It's fine. I think for Schmidt, the best deal is to stay out as long as possible. That way you don't get stuck with a yellow. Keep yourself on the lead lap. Don't put yourself in an awkward position, and just make sure you can make it to the end of this race without ever knowing where Cole Freilich is. That's how you win a championship. For Lewandowski, if you want to win this race, I think you've got to probably pit in the next 5 laps to have a chance at it, especially knowing how fast Mavic was right there on that run with those old tires. You don't want to give Mavic a chance to kind of drive away. And with about 8/10 or so a lap advantage, you give him about 10 laps. That's going to be close to 8 seconds. That'll put him about 5 seconds ahead of Lewandowski. And then from there, he's only got about 15 laps to go catch him. The math on that just doesn't really add up to me. So I think Lewandowski's got to come down here in the next couple laps to make sure that he can keep up with Mavic. But I think Mavic's kind of in the catbird seat at this current moment.
Yep, 32.8 that last time by for Braden Mavic. So the wick has been turned up on those fresh tires for the driver of that 42 car as Lewandowski continues to stay out on the racetrack now, and Mavic's going to get another lap of that time taken back out of his lead, out of Lewandowski's lead when they cycle all out.
I think Lewandowski's plan here is to probably pit with either 20 to go or in these next 2 laps. He ran the bottom now. I can't tell if he was kind of signaling going down the track a bit. He is going to pit right here, it looks like. Yep, he's going to come down right here.
So Lewandowski elects to pit. He will come down and get fresh tires. Schmidt stays out on track, just like you were saying, Elliot. He stays out trying to keep away from the rest of the group and not get caught up in a caution here.
Yeah, I think for Schmidt, this is, you got to run this pretty much out. You've got to make sure that you're not going to come out a lap down, which he can probably pit now with where Josh Chin is and put himself back on the lead lap and not be affected by anything. So, yeah, I think Schmidt's making the right call here. The big question mark is, as he stays out for another lap, not a bad choice, is Chin stretching it, obviously. That's his choice. That's what he's doing. He's 7 seconds off Schmidt. Can he make it? Can he make it, and can he beat Mavic doing it? Are the main questions. So your top 3 right now are basically going to be a battle between Chin saving fuel, Mavic short pitting everybody, and Lewandowski pitting pretty much normally and kind of just trying to do this all on speed.
And Schmidt hits pit road this time, so he will come down and get fresh fuel. That will cycle the lead out to Braden Mavic with that 42 car, and he's got about a 3-second gap ahead of Thomas Lewandowski. So if he can keep the tires on that car, like I said, Mavic's in the catbird seat right now.
Well, it's not Mavic. Mavic is chasing down Chin. Chin is going to be your leader until this strategy falls apart or if it works out. So right now, the chase is Mavic towards Chin, and then we've got to see where it looks like Lewandowski cycled out about 2 seconds behind Mavic. So on speed, it's Mavic versus Lewandowski. On strategy, it's currently Chin. And we're just going to have to see if either of those guys, they've got to make up 26 seconds in about 20 laps on Josh Chin. I don't think they can do that. They're not even running. They're running 33 flats right now. Chin is running, well, he's running 34 threes. That is about as tight as it gets.
Yeah, he's got about a half a straightaway advantage. We've got 19 laps to go this time. Or, well, it'll be 18 when Josh Chin comes around to receive the green flag once again. Time is ticking on this bomb, Elliot.
Yeah, and I'm really interested because this is great strategy, and Mavic is doing exactly what he needs to do to kind of stay ahead of Lewandowski. So, again, we're just going to have to see. Mavic's taking about a second out a lap, and with 19:18 to go, he's 25 and a half back. He's going to have to find a little bit more.
Ooh, big moment there for the 77 car going for the pass on AJ Green. They got squirrely there on going down the back straightaway, as now he will take it to the top side and try and run away with it with that momentum there, but a big moment there for the 77.
Mavic takes 1.2 seconds out of the lead. Still 24.2 seconds behind Joshua Chin. Oh, Trey Patton up in the outside wall. That may or may not cause an issue. That was right in front of Mavic, in between him and Lewandowski now.
We apologize for the scattered commentary. We were just all over the place with who to watch and what strategy to follow at this point, because as now we see Lewandowski screaming down that back straightaway, trying to close the gap on Braden Mavic, who was the guy that he is chasing. That's his target, is Braden Mavic in the eyes of Thomas Lewandowski now, as we've hit 16 laps to go in this event.
And William Schmidt's pit stop actually put him in a mess of cars. He had to get around Isaac Johnson, Jack Painter, and others. He's now trying to track down Jackson Sims, who, remember, was running about 4th or 5th at the time that all these pit stops started. He's going to look to the outside of Sims. You can see on your screen, not enough run there. He's going to go back to the inside into turn 3. But if he can clear Sims, he's in a pretty good spot. He's just got Sampson and Grindel in front of him, and honestly, if Grindel beats him on speed, it's not really a big deal. It still basically should be a top 5 night for William Schmidt, but we have a lot of others trying this strategy on fuel, as Schmidt going to use that pick with Trey Patton. Not good enough, but they're going to run side by side, him and Sims. Patton up in the wall again through 1 and 2, but Schmidt gets that pass down on Sims. Joshua Chin's on this fuel strategy, but so is Nicholas Budimlik, sorry. Tristan Baker, John Daniels, Mo Perry, Ryan Pandicio, AJ Green. I'm not going to try to pronounce John's last name because I'm already failing at all these other ones. Kendall Carpenter, I believe, actually just pitted. So there's about 7 other guys that are on the strategy with Joshua Chin. So right now, Brady Mavic finds himself about 9th, under attack from Lewandowski now, still trying to track down Chin.
Yeah, the fight is on now for what would be the 2nd place spot if they could get back to him, and they're now a half a track away from Joshua Chin. Josh Chin has dialed back the pace immensely to try and save this fuel as the 42 car and the 08 prepare to go to war here in the closing laps of this race.
Well, yeah, and this is a battle for the lead right here. The 77 to the inside of Chin. This is all for position. Top 3 right here. This is Budimlik, this is Baker, and Chin. Budimlik will lead that lap and take the lead from Chin. All these guys trying to stretch this fuel and make it work.
So many different strategies, so many spots to watch on track here as Budimlik now takes the lead from Joshua Chin. And is looking squirrely all the way down the back straightaway, wheeling that car for everything that he can get in the closing laps of this event.
Mavic is not getting here. We're less than 15 to go, and he is still nearly 17 seconds back. And now Lewandowski's caught him. He's going to look to the inside going into turn 3. These two still have about 10 seconds before they're even catching these guys that are trying this fuel strategy. So they're both still battling for 8th right now and not even really gaining what they need to on Budimlik and Baker now as Chin falters back to 3rd.
Well, when they start fighting here as they go side by side across the line, that's going to dial their pace back even more now as Lewandowski almost slides up into the driver's side door of the 42 car as they will be side by side off of corner number 2, and they're not going away from each other. This is going to be a brawl, Elliot.
Yeah, I think Lewandowski thinks that this is, well, I think they both think that this is their race for the win, but they might not realize what Chin and others are trying to do. I think if anything, maybe Mavic knows that Chin is trying to save fuel, but I don't think Lewandowski has any clue, and he knows that Mavic's kind of his last guy to get. They're only gaining a half a second on Budimlik and Baker right now as Mavic concedes the spot and says, I'll fight you another day, maybe. Hopefully in a few more laps. There's still about 10 to go in this, but right now they're not getting there. 15 and a half seconds back, 10 laps to go, and they're only gaining maybe a half a second to a second a lap. That's still not enough.
Yeah, Braden Mavic, big bobble for him, and that conceded the spot to Thomas Lewandowski, who now has the lead in this group of 2. I can't say it's the lead of the race at this point, but Lewandowski now trying to put a gap between him and the 42 car, as it looks like Muvik might have just driven the rear wheels off of it. He's having a hard time gathering that car back up out of the corners, as Lewandowski now just pulling away from him.
Well, I think Lewandowski's showing the pace that he's pretty much had all day. I think he's been in a lot of conservative modes, but right now he knows if he doesn't get going, he's not going to get this race done. There's now less than about 8 laps to go, and he is still 13.5 seconds, only clicking off 1 second a lap, which will put him about 4th. He won't even get to Chin at the pace that he's going right now if the fall off doesn't change at all. So he knows he's got to get going as quick as possible, and I think he's just showing that all-out pace that he's had, but he's not really shown through the rest of the race. Meanwhile, William Schmidt is right behind these guys, 15, nearly 16 seconds off the lead in 10th. That solidifies him the championship with Cole Freilic's troubles tonight. That's good enough for him. He just needs this to keep going how it is, and he'll be okay while they battle for the lead right now on your screen.
And they have been fighting for it. It's very interesting, Elliot, how they've been going at it. The 51 car of Tristan Baker and the 77 of Badimlik. And as they navigate lap traffic, or rather lap traffic navigates them. But they're fighting for it as if they've got the fuel and they're confident about it to make it to the end.
I mean, they might. Well, you just saw the stint right there. They're only 49 laps into their stint. They have 5 or 6 laps more fuel than Shin. They pit on a caution after him, so they're probably good, honestly, with where they are. They might be able to make this work. Chin's the one that's really having to back up and save because he's trying to go all 55 laps. So this might just be the battle for the win right here. There's 5 to go as they come by, and Lewandowski is not making up the ground that we thought he would make up.
Yeah, they're nowhere in sight. This is the battle for the race right here. The 77 of Badimlik and the 51 of Tristan Baker now. They will be nose to tail when they come off of turn number 1. Baker's taking a couple swipes at him at the 77 over the last couple of laps. Does he have anything for him? As like you said, Elliot, 5 laps to go. It's going to be 4 when they get to the line this time.
Yeah, I mean, Baker seems to have the pace. He's got a few laps to get it done, but right now he's just kind of watching to see where he can line Badimlik up. I'm really struggling with his last name, but maybe I'll get it right one of these times. But Badimlik also has the advantage of having led earlier on those older tires and everything. He's been kind of through this and knows how to kind of put his car in a place to make sure it's difficult to pass. And honestly, these guys started next to each other. They kind of know how each other race. They raced each other at the beginning of this. They're racing each other at the end. So just funny to kind of see how this all worked out for them. And as you go a little bit deeper through the field, huge shout out to John Daniels, who started this race in 32nd. He's running 4th. I think he's on the exact same strategy, so he should have a top 10 finish. And Ryan Pandicio back there started 24th. He's up to 5th on the similar strategy, also looking at potentially a top 10 finish as this really starts to wind down. Lewandowski not even up to Pandicio yet.
Yeah, those guys, a whale of an effort to stretch it this far on fuel when the rest of the field didn't think it was possible. As the 51 tries to draw up to the back bumper of Badimlik. Nothing that was doing this time. Now he looks low. Not going to have the, well, no, I take that back. He's going to be side by side. Badimlik has really backed off the pace. You can see it in the, just how much Baker caught him this down the front straightaway. Side by side. Now Badimlik will have the advantage on the outside, wrapping that momentum.
Kendall Carpenter had another bit of an issue there. You saw him on the screen while these guys were going by. Baker looking to the inside again on Badimlik as they try to make their way through 3 and 4. Josh Chin actually kind of coming back into this fight. Might think he has enough saved. He dropped to about 1.5 seconds off. Now he's
Badimlik's out. Badimlik's out. He is out of fuel. Slow on the front straightaway now, and that hands the lead over to Tristan Baker as now he's going to limp that car to the access road. Tristan Baker, does he have enough fuel to limp this car home? He's got a big gap over Joshua Chin, who now rides in 2nd place spot. He's got a half a lap, 2 corners to navigate to bring it home in an absolute upset performance. In this one, it looks like he's going to get it done. Tristan Baker will come out of turn number 4, and I believe he's running out at the line. Maybe not. There, he takes the inside lane. Tristan Baker wins the season finale in Homestead.
John Daniels actually passed John Daniels actually passed Joshua Chin there, got that second spot, and Ryan Padicio ends up fourth. Lewandowski's going to have to suffer for a fifth-place finish after all he did tonight. William Schmidt will win your championship from sixth place after starting on pole, running up front all night. Didn't run any crazy strategies, just did what he needed to do after Cole Freilich suffered an incident early on in the race and had damage that he had to deal with all night long. Battled all the way back. Cole Freilich will finish tonight 27th, one lap down, but it was enough for William Schmidt to get a top 10, to just get through this event, go and win himself a championship. He's getting congratulations from Braden Movick and others, but a championship for William Schmidt and a big win for Tristan Baker, somewhat of an underdog story, and John Daniels, from 32nd to second tonight, another big story as this race finishes up.
Big drives all throughout the entire field here as Nick Badimlik is he's getting helped around the racetrack by the 53 of Chris Lilly now to back to I believe the start finish line. He's going to finish this race, Elliot Dadgummit, as William Schmidt burns it down here on the front straightaway after a well-deserved championship season. Congratulations to William Schmidt, your Season 9 OSRL Premier Series champion.
And it can't be understated how big of a frustration that is for Nicholas Badimlik after, I thought he had that thing done, but maybe just started pushing a lap too early. And I honestly thought that at that point, Tristan Baker might run out. We might get a John Daniels win with Josh Chin going off into turn 3, but you've also got to give credit to Josh Chin for saving 6 laps more than those guys. Considering Badimlik ran out, I didn't think that was going to be possible. He ran out, and Chin was able to save, and Chin pitted 6 laps after them. That's nuts.
Let's go ahead and get our interviews started and bring in our third place finisher, the man who really for us up in the booth started this whole fuel saving fiasco. Josh Chin brings it home with a third place spot. Josh, at what point did you realize that the fuel save was going to work, and how did you manage to stretch it that long?
Once we got that last caution, I kind of figured it was going to be in a window. I wasn't quite sure if we'd make it, and then I was going easy, and I was pretty close to the number I needed to hit, so I went and committed and tried to hit it, and basically got there, but the tires just kind of went off a little bit too much, and I had to do just a little bit too much saving for the front 2 guys. But otherwise, I can't complain with third place out of that. I don't think I had the pace to get up there and really fight with Tom that last run, just straight up. So it's about the best finish I could ask for.
Well, you had the pace all night long, and then it came down to a fuel strategy at the end there. What was the night like for you? You were up there fighting for the lead with Lewandowski and Movick there. I can't get over the fuel strategy. It's just insane. We were all over the racetrack covering everybody there. What was the drive like? How did the car handle? I'll ask you this: what were you doing to save fuel? How early on the straightaways were you starting to clutch, or were you just letting off really early and letting it coast through the corners?
Yeah, I was clutching through that initial coast phase and letting it kind of ease back in and engine brake a little bit. I don't know. I probably could have done a little bit better job rolling brake into it to try and keep the right front on. I think that was the big thing, that I burned off the right front trying to save the fuel and didn't really have anything at the end when I was doing that. I kind of let it just ease its way into the corner, and it burned off the right front a lot doing that. I think the last run I probably had a 30-40% split on the right front to right rear there.
Well, you did a great job to bring it home in a third place spot after Lewandowski, the first of the drivers who pit, managed to bring it back up for a fifth place spot. So congratulations on your third place once again. Before we let you go, do you have anybody to thank for your awesome run and your awesome season?
Big shout out to everyone, Team Hype and Power Slide, supporting all the time. Phil had to leave midway through the race, but he was having a good run as well. And shout out to OSRL putting on the series. It's gonna suck not race with Oates anymore. He's my closest competition a lot of weeks, and just near each other every week here in FTF. So he's off to do better things in college. So good for him. And thank you guys for putting on the broadcast you have this season.
Well, we appreciate you talking to us, man. Go enjoy your third place finish, and once again, congratulations on a great race and a great season.
Yep, thank you guys.
And up next, we don't get to interview him very often. We're going to pull him on up here. Second place finisher, John Daniels. Big run at the end to get around Joshua Chin. Did you think maybe you were going to get it tonight and Baker was going to run out? And talk to us about exactly how that fuel strategy worked out for you.
When I did the pit stop, I knew, okay, I had to stay ahead of whomever else pitted. And I got ahead of Tristan and those guys. And as I was doing everything, looking at the math, looking at the numbers, looking at everything, I realized I'm short. And that's when Tristan got back by me. And I basically took the numbers from the practice run I did during the practice and realized, okay, I can do X number of laps. If I save, I can do this. And as soon as that last caution came out, I knew I could make it. It's just a question stayed in front, and I just needed to save that little bit extra. And I pushed one lap too short.
Well, regardless, it was a great battle all the way with Josh Chin and a great job to come all the way home in second after starting all the way back in 32nd. Was there anything you felt like you could have done over that last run? Besides, I mean, obviously push a little bit harder, but do you think you had anything for Tristan? Do you kind of wish you would have been able to replay that again?
Honestly, I'm just happy to take it as is. I was telling Levi Wolf, who was in the chat with me for my thing, this is just like Las Vegas last season. And I had the magic number right then, just short of the 2 leaders, and I'm just happy. This is the best finish I've had in the league. I'm going to finish 5th in points. I'm over the moon, and I only finished 2nd.
Well, we love to see it, John. Glad to see you run up front. And yeah, I mean, we saw you stay out one time and everything, and I thought you had a pretty fast car, and you definitely made it work at the end. So congrats on second. Is there anyone you want to thank for it?
All right, I'll try to make it quick. Got to thank the sponsors, because I am the sponsor for tonight. Find Love or Die Trying in the sequel. Find Love or Die Trying Till Death Do Us Part. $4.99 each on Steam. Made by Sunseeker Games. Let's see, KNS Sim Productions. For charity races and all that. Pre-rim rim protectors. And just gotta thank Jonathan Oates, who put this league on in the beginning and moving on to better things. But I'm just over the moon. I'm just happy, man.
We love to see it, John.
Mm-hmm. Y'all take care.
No, I'm not going to stop you.
I'm looking forward to next season. I am over the moon, and I only finished 2nd. So, y'all take care. Thank y'all for broadcasting. I look forward to next season.
Absolutely. Great way to finish it off. That's John Daniels, 2nd place finish tonight. Best of the league, best of the season, top 5 in points. We'll see you next time, John.
Take care. See you then.
And we'll go ahead and pull up your race winner if he's in here. I don't see him, though. Looking for Tristan Baker. Go ahead and pull Schmidt up for Brittle here.
Well, your season 9 champion, William Schmidt. Congratulations. What are the emotions right now?
Finally. Oh, man, I felt like I should have had it last season, but it just didn't come to fruition. But I remember at the beginning of this season, I said it was going to come down between Josh and Joe, and that they were going to be really difficult to beat. But honestly, I was not expecting a repeat of last season, where it was going to be between me and Cole again. And after Talladega, I honestly thought Cole had it, because, I mean, I had nowhere to go at Talladega. I mean, the whole front end got ripped off. It was rough. I think Talladega ended up being my my drop race because of just how bad it went for me. So I came in here 11 points back, knowing, I had to get a certain cushion between me and Cole. And let me tell you, and don't get me wrong, Cole and I are friends. I like Cole, but going off a turn 2 and seeing him wreck. I don't think I've ever felt such joy in that moment. And I like Cole. So I feel bad for saying that, but that was kind of the moment that I knew, okay, I can just run my race at this point, and more than likely I'll be just fine. And that's what I did after that moment. I tried going for the win after that point. Didn't really work out. I botched the fuel strategy pretty bad. If it went on for another maybe 3 laps or so, I probably would have gotten second. But I mean, I don't know how everybody else saved there. But hey, I got my championship burnout finally. I'm happy about that.
And what a burnout it was as we watch it on screen here. Well deserved. And yeah, I was going to ask you about the emotions of seeing Freilich wreck, but you've already summed that up pretty good for us. Just the whole season, man. You were there from the drop, pretty much battling with Cole and with Armstrong and with Chin as well. All 4 of you guys putting on a show all season long. Take us through the season and how what your mentality was as the championship started to really shape itself as we got down towards these final races. Yeah.
Going into Daytona, I remember, I think I got dragged in for an interview, I think during the pace laps at Daytona, and I said that, it's probably going to be between Joe and Josh. And then lap 1, I proceeded to get spun out in turn 3. So I figured, okay, this is going to be a rough season. And the rest of Daytona didn't go all that well, but yeah, we just, I don't know, kept consistent throughout the season. Pretty much every race but Richmond. Richmond was the only one where I kind of felt off. I was not even top 10 on pace there, but, did what we could all season. Got hella points, basically, and only 1 win compared to, I think, the 2 or 3 last season. But, it came at Vegas. I don't know why I'm so good at Vegas, but, I mean, I'm not complaining. And going into Talladega, I was thinking, okay, all I have to do is survive, but then I kind of didn't do that. So that led into here and all of what I described earlier. I'm happy right now, man. I'm happy.
No, I don't blame you, man. And if it's if the super speedways are going to be the things that bite you, it might as well be those, because you were on point for just about everything else. So congratulations once again on a great championship run. Before we let you go, do you have anybody to thank for your awesome run this tonight and this season?
Yeah, of course I want to thank Jonathan Oates as well. It's his last race as the owner, as OSRL head owner thingy. I don't know the exact name or position, but he's running the league. It's his last race owning it, so big thank you to him for putting this league on. I've been racing here since season 4. I've come close a couple times. I think my debut season I got 3rd in the standings. Took a couple of part-time seasons after that, but yeah, I want to thank him. I want to thank the entire field as well for coming out tonight. It was a really fun race. I thought it was going to be a bottom feeding track for most of it, and we were running 2 or 3 wide for a lot of it, so I'm pleasantly surprised about that. Big thank you to you guys as well for putting on the broadcast. And shout out to my SKS Motorsports teammate, Aiden Walker. He won the Iora Championship tonight. So SKS Motorsports sweep for Thursday nights.
Very nice. Double dipping on a Thursday night. We love to see it. Well, Schmidt, congratulations once again on your championship. Go enjoy your evening, and thanks for talking to us, man. And look forward to whatever happens next in OSRL.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
And not even last, but certainly not forgotten, Tristan Baker, the winner tonight. We were trying to grab you a second ago, and I missed it. You're up in another channel. But Tristan, you got us?
I got y'all. Do y'all have me?
I absolutely do. Go ahead and talk us through that strategy of how you ended up in the position to take this one home, having to battle Badimlik and Oates, or I'm sorry, and Josh Chin and everybody. How did you make that strategy work with the fuel?
Well, it really went back to the beginning of the race. On that first caution, I actually didn't take tires, so I kind of just pitted soon right after the second caution came out to just put myself in the back. and just ride a little bit. And it got down to the end there, and I knew it was going to be close to make it. So as we were pacing around, I came in and topped off twice. And from there on, it was pretty much just save as much as I could. I knew John Daniels was back there, and he's come out pretty good in these fuel mileage races, so I knew I had to stay in front of him. And when I got in front of him, I felt pretty good as long as I could stay in front of him. And luckily enough, I was able to do that. So we ended up on the top, and I'm just happy about that.
And when Badimlik ran out, I know you were feeling nervous. Did you feel confident that you had enough for that last lap? Are you good to go?
Well, I actually ran out right at the line as I crossed it, so I was right on the threshold. I knew if the 77 was side by side with me coming to the line, he was probably going to end up with it. But as soon as he ran out, and I knew I had a second on Chin and John Daniels, then I felt pretty good about it, even if I ran out before the line, that I'd get there before anybody else.
Well, we just want to give you a quick shout out, and I want to make sure that the fans know this is your second top 5 on a non-super speedway, and it is a win in your 54th start, I believe, in the Gen 4 car here at OSRL. So a big night for you. Anyone you want to go ahead and thank for it?
Well, I want to thank Oates for putting the league on. I don't even remember how I found the league, but everybody in here is great. Pretty clean racing on a regular basis. I just want to say it's great to win the final race that Oates is going to be the league owner. But I said last week at Talladega that it was my birthday week, and the new Gen 4 came out on my birthday, so people should push me to the win at Talladega, and I ended up wrecked out in that one pretty early, and I was upset about that because I knew I'm typically a mid-pack guy. And I never would have expected to win here. And then I'm actually getting married this weekend, so it's a great week. We're going to celebrate and have a great time.
Tales of redemption, a lot of up and down, but hey, big time winner here at OSRL and a nice wedding to boot. Hopefully this weekend. You make sure to enjoy yourself and have a great night tonight, Tristan. Appreciate you talking to us and looking forward to seeing you next season.
Thank y'all.
Tristan Baker, and last but not least, we'll pull up Jonathan Oates. And before I hand it over to Brittle, I just want to also say thank you to Oates for putting this on, letting us be a part of it. Glad to be a part of Split Second Broadcasting. Come over here and have some fun. I think I only broadcasted 3 or 4 races this season, but the show that you guys put on over here, the talent pool that you have, and the discretion of the admin team and how you guys run this thing is definitely entertaining, to say the least, and puts on a great product. Just glad to be a part of it. And hope all the best for you in the future, Oates, and thankful to just be a part of this. Before I hand it over to Brittle.
Well, Oates, you've heard. Elliot pretty much took the words right out of my mouth, and so has every other person who we've interviewed here. A beloved league owner, for sure. Welcome to the booth, first of all, for the first time this season, and. Yeah, it was great to see you on track here tonight. First of all, take us through tonight and what it looked like for you. You had a lot of pace early on, and then it just seemed like you got mired back in the mid pack.
Oh yeah. Well, I wanted to lead a lap, and that's what I told myself going into the race. I decided I was just going to go all out for a little bit until I got that lap led, and then I'd settle back down. I could have kept pushing. I think my pace was pretty good. I know Lewandowski was probably way faster than me. I mean, he's an animal in these cars, and I don't think I was going to be able to beat him, especially not with me being a little out of practice right now. But I just wanted to get up there and get a lap led. I did, and that was a good moment for me. And then after that, I just dropped back a little bit and tried to run the best race I could. It was difficult after getting caught up in that crash with Cole Freilich because the right front got bent a little bit, so the car was a little tight, and I was a little bit slow on the straightaways. But I clawed back. Got from 30th to, I want to say 30th to 11th. No, it was just outside the top 15 on the first run and then up to 3rd on the next run. So I think maybe if I had been paying a little bit more attention to the fuel, I would have gotten that trick as well and maybe could have had something for the win. I I also recognized with about 20 laps to go that running on the top, I was running faster than Schmidt and Lewandowski. So there was a moment where I thought maybe I was good enough to win, and I think if things had gone a little bit differently, I could have gone out on top. But still, I'm really grateful to put together a good race here. We had a good race overall, and honestly, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy that I got to finish out my last race as league owner.
Yeah, we were happy to see you too. To have, be a part of our broadcast product and the on-track product as well. It certainly made an interesting race, a great addition, and yeah, me and Elliot actually remarked at the beginning of the broadcast to have a field of that size for the season finale after such a long season. No easy task, and so it leads me in the next is the community that you fostered here at OSR. It's a big one, and it seems to be a tight knit one for sure. Just what do you have to say to the OSR family out there?
You're gonna need to repeat that. You were glitching out a lot, and I have no idea what you just said.
I apologize.
Oh wait, it's still a problem. Hang on. Oh, I don't know.
Wait,
is this your end or my end?
It's he had issues at the beginning of the race, but
Okay.
I believe if I
can
heard
hear
him
you okay.
correctly that he's just happy that it went off without a hitch, and he was glad to be a part of it as everyone else was tonight, and just wanted to give you a big shout out to making this go on the way that it did this season, previous seasons, and you guys been doing this 9 seasons now, and especially with the Gen 4 car, it's been fun to watch. So just glad to be a part of it, and wanted to give you an opportunity to just kind of give thanks and talk about, you know, what this league's meant to you and what it looks like going towards the future.
Oh man, what it's meant to me? I don't know if I could do that without rambling on too long, but I guess I have some time.
You have the floor, Oates. You have the floor.
I started this league 4 years ago when I was still in middle school. I think I was 13. No, I might have been 14 by then. Anyways, I wasn't even out of middle school yet, and CJ and I, one of my best friends, on iRacing, but also just in my life, he's an awesome guy. We just wanted to make a league where, you know, people could come, have fun, and race in what I thought was kind of the right way. You know, I might have been a little maybe immature about it at the time, but you know, I've always thought that the best way to have racing is, you know, as classic as it gets. Fast cars, no gimmicks, no playoffs, nothing like that. Just, you know, 30-something guys fighting for position and going as hard as they can without too much interference. And I think over the years we've really built that up. You know, we've gone through a lot of changes for sure. 3 different cars, 2 different broadcasters, a couple different formats of points and schedule lengths and all kinds of stuff. But, you know, I think I'm really proud of what we have now. And I think really more than anything, this league has taught me a lot about myself. You know, I made a whole long-winded announcement post about this last night because I felt like saying my little piece. But, you know, over the years, I think I've just really learned how to be a lot more patient and a lot better of a leader through running this. And, you know, those aren't just skills that I'm thankful to have on iRacing. You know, those are skills I'm thankful to have in my life. You know, I think that it's just an iRacing league, of course, but I think I'm a better person at the end of the day because of everything that this league has taught me. You know, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I really just didn't have the maturity, I think, that it takes to kind of run a project like this. There were a lot of crash outs, so to speak, but, you know, I think I learned how to control that over the years, and I think that that's the biggest thing this league has taught me, and it's not really something that I intended, but looking back on it now, this has meant, it's been a big part of my life. It's meant a lot to me, and, you know, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to hand over the reins, but at the same time, I'm definitely going to miss running this place. You know, it's meant a lot to me, and I'm really proud of what we've made.
I think that goes for a lot of people here. It definitely has been a fantastic product and great to be a part of from all angles. And I don't know if this is done for you, but if you plan on coming back, I'm sure, you know, this place will definitely be around, and they'll look forward to having you back. Hopefully back in a car too, because you're quick too. And we look forward to what this turns into moving forward.
Well, I hope so. It's going to be kind of a lot with me going off to college at the end of the year, but I'd love to keep racing in OSRL. I mean, it's a good place to race. Maybe I'm a little biased saying that, but I love racing here when I get the chance, and I truly had a blast tonight. I love this car. iRacing did a 90% job of it. I still want them to take down the draft a little bit. So if anyone here works at iRacing, just bring that up with someone. But they did a really good job with this car. It feels great to drive, and I don't even like this track, so I hope I can be back because I love racing and I love racing this car. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you can see me around in season 10 a little bit.
Before we go off air, anyone you want to thank out of the kindness of your heart?
Well, I got a lot of people I want to thank. Obviously, since I'm here, I have to thank all of you guys. Jeff, I don't know if you want to unmute and maybe say something, but Jeff Johnson, the producer, I mean, he's, I knew him because of FTF stuff like a couple of years ago, I think, unless I'm misremembering that. And I hit him up before season 8 started to talk about doing some broadcasting, and you guys took over, and it's been phenomenal ever since. The production value has been top notch. The professionalism has been amazing, and I really can't thank you guys enough for stepping up. Of course, I want to thank our old broadcasters too, Puffer Zone Network, and also Matt Spalding specifically. He was one of our biggest partners here for 6.5 seasons. They got started halfway through season 1, and they were an invaluable part of growing this league. We would not be here today if it wasn't for them. I have to thank all the other admins, of course, too, but specifically, I want to thank CJ Nemitz because he's not only one of my best friends, but also my partner at the start of this whole thing. We came up with this idea together, and we made it together. And, I couldn't have asked to do it with anyone better. I want to thank Jack Painter, too, because he has really stepped up these past few seasons, taking over some of the slack that, I'll be honest, I've left. And this season especially. I've been busy. I've been out. I've been doing a lot of things, and he stepped up. He kept everything running smoothly week to week. I was in Japan 2 weeks ago, and the week before that, I wasn't even close to the country, and he stepped up, and everything, ran perfectly without me. And that's all because of him. And he's going to take over going forward, and I know he's going to do a great job. I'm not worried even for a second that he's going to mess it up. So, big shout outs to them. All the other admins here, I'll just name all of them since I'm here taking up your time. I got to thank all the other admins. Griffin Jones, Robert Dorman, who shows up sometimes, Isaac Johnson, Marty Farrell, who was off tracking tonight, thank you to him, Nathan Kiani, and Gavin Newton. They were all huge helps this season and the seasons before when they were around. And the drivers, too. I mean, they're the ones that really made this happen. Every single driver that's raced with us over the years, and will continue to race with us in the years to come, they're invaluable to this league, and we could not have done it without them. I think specifically Justin Champagne should get a little shout out, because even though he hasn't raced here in a while, he was one of our first members. He won the Season 1 championship, and he had one of the biggest social media followings at the start of this whole thing. So he gave us a shout out after our Daytona race, our first race ever, and that grew the league a ton. I mean, we went from, barely 16 cars to like 20, 25, and he really gave us the kickstart that we needed. And we've gone through so much since then, but he was kind of the spark. So special shout out to him. And I think that's all I have. But yeah, everyone who's been a part of this couldn't have done it without you. And it has genuinely meant the world to me.
Well, we were proud to be here and really happy to be a part of it. Hopefully we'll be a part of it moving forward. I'm sure there'll be talks about that later, but that is the end of your season 9. Oates, we appreciate you being here. Looking forward to seeing you in the future, but we're going to let you go hang out with your boys tonight and enjoy the end of this beautiful season.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing time, and I really hope that I can see where this goes in the future, because I'm excited. This new car is great. Our race tonight was great. The future's bright, and I know it's in good hands.
Appreciate that, Oates. We will go ahead and run through results here on screen. Brittle's still having issues, so we're going to do a little bit of a quick wrap up. But and with all the multiple interviews, I think we had about 5 tonight. So there are your results. Tristan Baker gets it done tonight. Obviously started back in about 18th and will come home your winner after leading just 2 laps right at the end there. But his first win in OSRL competition in the Premier Series with the Gen 4 car. Big props to him tonight to get it done. And William Schmidt, obviously your champion after the issue that Cole Freilich suffered early on in the race. As we go through the rest of the running order, you can see a lot of the guys that stuck with the tire strategy and didn't really go for fuel and ended up kind of dropping down the list. Unfortunately, guys that were having solid runs like Jack Painter, Stephen Gibson, Jackson Sims, all around the top 10. And then towards the end here, you've got Cole Freilich, Aston Rice, Kendall Carpenter, other guys that ran into issues that may not have finished where they ended up, but unfortunately for them, unfortunately for Cole Freilich specifically, who had such a killer season. We talked to him earlier in the race. He had so much hope for tonight, was just hoping to keep the 73 in front of him. One move in the middle of the race took him completely out of it and gave William Schmidt the big win on the evening, being the championship. That is going to do it here. That's season 9 of OSRL. Looking forward to what the season 10 looks like. But William Schmidt, your champion. And that is it here from Homestead. That is OSRL Season 9 competition, Gen 4 car, Premier Series. We'll see you next season. I'm Elliot Henderson alongside Hunter Brittle and Jeff Johnson. Thank you.